Chapter 212 Raiding Karur. Chapter 212 Raiding Karur. ___. By taking turns attacking Karur, the two Guardian Knights quickly established a strong hold on Karur's aggro. However, compared to when they battled elite monsters, the pressure on the healers had visibly increased. Moreover, both Water Lake and White Feather were clearly unfamiliar with the boss's attack patterns. Their movements were somewhat stiff when dodging attacks. Right now, they could only dodge every other scent at them. Even so, compared to the last time the Assassin's Alliance had raided Karur, the healers were having a slightly easier time keeping these MTs alive. The healer's mana consumption made this obvious. Originally, Cruel Sword still worried that the two Guardian Knights could not manage. However, based on the results before him, it was clearly an unnecessary thought. The healers managed themselves with perfect order right now, unlike the several raids before where they had to cast their heals desperately, without caring about any proper order. The four healers couldn't even catch their breaths unless they wanted the previous two MTs to die instantly. In reality, such failures were very common. In God's domain, level 10 players had a large threshold to overcome. The levels before level 10 were merely an adaptation period. Once players reached level 10, they would no longer receive any preferential treatment. Hence, entering a level 10, 20-man hard mode team dungeon at level 10 was the equivalent of entering a level 5, 20-man hell mode team dungeon at level 5. How could it possibly be easy? In addition, bosses would have much higher intelligence. It would take a certain degree of skill to hold the aggro of a boss and prevent it from attacking the ranged classes and healers. MTs especially needed to know how to pin down and restrain the boss monsters, as just having aggro did not mean that the boss would only hit the MT. After all, even with aggro, boss monsters would still find an opportune moment to massacre the healers, the weakest players on the team. When this occurred, MTs had the task of restraining the boss, preventing it from attacking the healers. Hence, the requirements for an MT's techniques were very high. If the previous MTs were currently tanking the boss, they would fare much better than Water Lake and White Feather regarding techniques. They had simply made a mistake during the allocation of their free attribute points. However, there was no way to reset one's attribute points in God's domain, so these two players could only be replaced. Moreover, for a long time, these two players would have to allocate all the free attribute points they obtained from leveling up into both strength and agility. Otherwise, they would cripple their characters. Everyone, start attacking now. Berserkers and swordsmen, assist the MTs in blocking some attacks. Focus your attacks on the boss's weapons or arms, and aim your attacks where they can interrupt the boss's attack. As for ranged classes, focus on dealing as much damage as you can. Surpassing commanded. Immediately, a group of players charged forward to give Karur a beating, while the ranged players launched their bombardment at Karur. -124, -137, -108, -189, -175. One damage after another appeared above Karur's head. However, the damage was not particularly high. Among these, the highest damage dealt belonged to the Berserker, Cruel Sword. His normal attacks could deal around -266 damage with each hit, while a Violent Strike could deal up to -448 damage. Right behind Cruel Sword was Stabbing Heart. As Stabbing Heart was an assassin, his normal attacks could only deal around -120 damage with each hit. However, his attack rate was much faster than Cruel Sword's. Meanwhile, a 5-star Eviscerate decimated 587 HP from Karur. Ranking in third was the team's cute and lovable little sister, the Elementalist Mu Qing. She was the captain of the Assassin's Alliance's Elementalist team, and her techniques were first-rate. She was also one of the famous female Elementalists in Star Moon Kingdom. She could rank within the top 100 Elementalists within Star Moon Kingdom. Every one of her attacks could deal around -300 to -400 damage, but due to her spells requiring a long time to cast, her overall damage was slightly less than the two aforementioned players. Originally, Cruel Sword had intended to say to Surpassing, "Look! Isn't our team's damage output powerful? Why don't you join our guild? The position of first vice leader will be yours if you do. However, when Cruel's sword saw Surpassing charging at Karur, subsequently slashing his sword at Karur, Cruel's sword was immediately dumbfounded. His words shrunk back into a secluded location in his mind. Surpassing's 2 casual slashes dealt damages of -395 and -376 to Karur. Immediately after, Surpassing followed up with a level 10 chop. The skill achieved a critical hit, instantly causing -2,137 damage to Karur. He then continued by using Thundering Flash, dealing damages of -643, -832, and -1,102 to Karur, as well as inflicting a damage amplification effect. Surpassing then abruptly jumped up into the air. As he descended, he smashed the abyssal blade covered in the power of thunder and fire down onto Karur's head. Suddenly, Karur let out a soul-piercing scream of pain. Thunder Flame Explosion instantly caused -3,312 damage, and everyone on the team, aside from Surpassing, became slack-jawed when they witnessed this scene. If Water Lake had not reacted quickly by using Mach, followed by Righteous Punishment, Surpassing might have snagged most, if not all, of Karur's aggro. Stabbing Heart, just where did you find a swordsman expert as amazing as him? Mu Qing's exquisite lips parted as she gaped and involuntarily questioned Stabbing Heart. As Mu Qing had not started out in Red Leaf Town, she was not particularly knowledgeable about Surpassing. Since the launch of God's Domain, she had always focused on leveling up and raiding dungeons. Even after she entered White River City, she had not met many players who could surpass her. Hence, Mu Qing naturally considered herself as a top-tier expert. However, Surpassing had utterly shattered that belief. The highest damage she could deal was only around -700 points, and that was when she achieved a critical hit. Meanwhile, Surpassing could casually deal over -700 damage with a single hit. Right now, he had even dealt over -3,000 damage to a high chieftain-ranked boss. Mu Qing felt extremely embarrassed to think that she actually thought of herself as a top-tier expert. What a joke! Hee, isn't this Big Brother amazing? Shortly after I started playing God's Domain, I discovered Brother Yifeng's prowess. With such a massive damage output, the first clear of this hard mode dungeon will definitely be ours this time. Stabbing Heart gleefully said. After all, he was the one who had invited Surpassing to this raid. Now that Surpassing performed so valiantly, shocking everyone on the team, Stabbing Heart felt extremely proud. Scram! You're not Yifeng, what's there to be proud of? If you have the ability, then show me that you can deal over 1,000 damage. Mu Qing glared at Stabbing Heart. Little sister Mu Qing, you think too highly of me. How can I compare to Brother Yifeng? He is the publicly acknowledged God-ranked expert of White River City. His damage alone can trump over a dozen players. I would be satisfied if I had even a third of his damage. Stabbing Heart smiled bitterly. Surpassing was a great expert just like Gentle Snow. He and Surpassing were on entirely different levels, so how could he compare to Surpassing? Previously, the players who still had some complaints about Surpassing now had none. Surpassing was simply too amazing. Not only were his attacks incredibly powerful, but the timing and techniques he applied to interrupt the boss's rhythm continuously were also praiseworthy. Every time one of Surpassing's swords attacked Karur, his other sword would simultaneously strike at Karur's saber, shifting the boss's attack slightly. This situation allowed the two MTs to dodge Karur's attacks with far more ease, greatly reducing the burden on the healers. At this moment, everyone finally understood what a true swordsman was. Aside from having fierce attacks, Surpassing could also nimbly assist the MT. With such a swordsman on the team, raiding the dungeon became much easier than before. By making a rough estimate, their chances of victory had risen by at least twofold. At this moment, Cruel's sword suddenly sent a private message to Mu Qing. Mu Qing, you're one of the great beauties in our guild. You can see how amazing Yifeng is. It would be a shame not to recruit him into our guild. It wouldn't be too good for a brute like me to invite him directly. Can you use your charms to persuade him to join us? If you manage to pull Yifeng into our guild, I can guarantee that your current treatment will increase by threefold, and you will also be promoted to an elder of the guild. Cruel Sword also tried to think of a few other methods to recruit Surpassing into the Assassin's Alliance. However, he immediately discovered that the Assassin's Alliance did not have any great benefits to Surpassing. With Surpassing's techniques, even first-rate guilds would willingly wage a bloody battle with each other to recruit him. As for the price tag the Assassin's Alliance could offer, any first-rate guilds could easily double or triple the amount. Hence, the only option Cruel Sword had remaining was to play the relationship card. Looking at Surpassing's age, he should only be in his early 20s. He was at the age where he should be both vigorous and passionate. Meanwhile, a great beauty like Mu Qing was perfect for this situation. Although Cruel Sword hated resorting to such methods, the competition in God's domain was just too intense. There were plenty of guilds using similar tactics. If he continued being conservative, he might regret it in the future. Guild leader, are you for real? Mu Qing excitedly asked. Of course. Cruel Sword earnestly replied. Guild leader, leave it to me. With this young lady's charm, I will definitely recruit Yi Feng into our guild. Mu Qing laughed coquettishly, her large eyes shifting towards Surpassing. Cruel Sword had similarly notified Stabbing Heart of his plan. However, Stabbing Heart simply shook his head and smiled bitterly after he heard it. Stabbing Heart really wished to say, if even a saint like Gentle Snow and a demoness like Zhao Yueru failed to capture Yi Feng's heart, I'm afraid Mu Qing will not have any chances at all. Although Mu Qing was indeed a beauty as pretty as a flower, when Stabbing Heart gazed at Mu Qing's flat chest and recalled Gentle Snow's and Zhao Yueru's outstanding lethal weapons, they were on entirely different levels. However, Stabbing Heart did not try to ruin Mu Qing's beautiful fantasy. At this moment, Karur's HP had decreased to 50%. Suddenly, Karur let out an angry bellow. Everyone, get away from the boss. Surpassing knew that Karur was about to use Blade Storm. With Surpassing's reminder, the elites of the Assassin's Alliance quickly distanced themselves more than 20 yards from Karur. Shortly after, Karur started spinning, transforming into a tornado that engulfed everything around it. Even after Karur's Blade Storm ended, nobody from the team had died. At worst, there were some players who had their HP damaged to a critical point. However, they were healed back to full HP by the healers very quickly. Following which, the team proceeded to decrease Karur's HP to 40%. Karur then started using his Avatar Slash. Although Karur only used Avatar Slash once every 20 seconds, there were bound to be some players who were extremely unlucky, chosen as targets for 7 or 8 consecutive times. For these unlucky players, surviving would be difficult regardless of how they held on. As one team member after another fell, Karur's HP also decreased to 10%. Karur went berserk. His speed and attack power soared by 30%, and he now had a critical hit effect. White Feather, unfortunately, received a critical hit. Even with Protection Blessing activated, he instantly lost over 1,400 HP. Moreover, when White Feather received this hit, he only had around 60% of his total HP remaining. Hence, he instantly died. White Feather's death greatly increased the pressure on Water Lake. To make things worse, there were only 12 players left alive in the team, while Karur still had 4% of his HP remaining, almost 20,000 HP. Helpless, Surpassing could only choose to use one of his trump cards, the Flame Burst. During the short 2-second cast time, Karur had used Avatar Slash once more, instant killing 3 more players. One of the 3 players killed was even a healer. This was truly a desperate situation. Meanwhile, Karur still had 3% of his HP, which meant that he had around 13,000 HP remaining. At this moment, the abyssal blade in Surpassing's hand started glowing a dazzling white. The white glow surrounding the abyssal blade shone like a miniature sun. Its presence alone raised the surrounding temperature by several folds. Surpassing activated Wind Blade and arrived behind Karur. Lightly jumping up, Surpassing brandished the abyssal blade at Karur's back, instantly forming 6 sword images. The 6 sword images resembling the sun instantly devoured Karur, causing frightening damages of minus 2,153, minus 2,203, minus 2,178, minus 4,356, minus 2,206, minus 4,422 to appear above Karur's head. Under this tremendous might, Karur's 4-meter-tall body shot like a cannonball towards a steel wall. Boom! An indentation in the shape of Karur immediately formed on the steel wall. Meanwhile, Karur was thoroughly charred black, as void of life as a stone. Chapter 213 Dark Warlock Salou. Chapter 213 Dark Warlock Salou. Karur is down. We won. What was that skill? How could it be so frightening? The surviving members looked at the charred Karur, all involuntarily gulping a mouthful of saliva. The scene Surpassing displayed before was simply unheard of. It was as if the thing he brandished was not a sword but a miniature sun. Even when standing at a distance of over 30 yards, they could feel the scorching temperature through the pain and burning of their skin. Meanwhile, the damage Surpassing had dealt was even more shocking. Of his 6 last strikes, not one had dealt lower than minus 2,000 damage to the High Chieftain ranked boss. Among them, there were even 2 that achieved a critical hit, causing over minus 4,000 damage. It was the first time they had seen such a powerful skill. Stabbing Heart jaw also hung open. Although he knew that Surpassing was amazing, he never imagined that he would be this amazing. Cruel Sword was also awestruck. Originally, he had prepared for another failure. He never thought that Surpassing would have a move like this hidden. Surpassing had sent a level 12 High Chieftain boss flying and instantly caused more than minus 10,000 damage. This was definitely the highest damage Cruel Sword had seen so far. At this moment, Cruel Sword's gaze grew even more fervent when he looked at Surpassing. He couldn't help but wish that he could drag Surpassing into the Assassin's Alliance right this instant. Mu Qing reacted quickly. This moment was her best chance to get closer to Surpassing. Hence, Mu Qing immediately walked up to Surpassing's side, acting excited as she pulled on Surpassing's arm. Big brother Yifeng, this move of yours is just too amazing. Just what sort of skill is it? This is my first time seeing such a skill. Mu Qing eyed Surpassing as she spoke in a soft and supple tone, her slender eyelashes constantly fluttering. Admiration filled her gaze, and her expression was fragile, invoking any man's protective instincts. Flame burst. It's a universal special skill that any class can use. Surpassing could clearly feel a sense of warmth and softness on the arm she clung to. However, he did not put much thought into it. He deemed that Mu Qing had only done such a thing due to her excitement. Hence, he casually gave her the answer. A special skill, is it? How unfortunate. Originally, I thought of inviting Brother Yifeng to help me grind for one. Mu Qing's excitement withered when she heard Surpassing's words. One could only come across something like a special skill serendipitously. It was not something that one could obtain through effort. Indeed, how could such a powerful skill be so easily obtained? Let's take a look at the drops, then, Surpassing said with a laugh, looking at Mu Qing's disappointed expression. Reminded by Surpassing, everyone finally recalled the fact that Karur, who had just died, was a High Chieftain ranked boss. The loot he dropped would doubtlessly be bountiful. They had forgotten this fact due to their shock at Surpassing's strength. Following which, the surviving healers started reviving their fallen allies. Only when everyone was revived did Cruel Sword begin to collect the loot. Karur had dropped a total of 5 pieces of equipment, and all of them were mysterious iron rank. Compared to the boss of a 10-man dungeon, Karur had dropped an extra 2 to 3 pieces of equipment. Among the 5 pieces of equipment, there was a level 10 Great Shield, a level 10 Longbow for Rangers, a level 10 Breastplate for Berserkers, a level 10 Staff for Healers, and the last piece was a level 10 Breastplate for Swordsmen. The breastplates for Berserkers and Swordsmen in particular were pieces of set equipment. As for money, everyone in the team received 32 coppers. In general, it was a great harvest. As Surpassing previously had an agreement with the Assassin's Alliance, the Wind Extinguisher breastplate was given to him directly. Wind Extinguisher Breastplate, Chest Piece, Plate Armor, Mysterious Iron Rank. Level 10. Defense plus 83. Strength plus 7, Agility plus 10, Endurance plus 6. Restricted to Swordsman. Part of Wind Extinguisher Set Equipment, 1/6. 2-piece effect, increase damage by 10%. 4-piece effect, increase attack speed and movement speed by 15%. 6-piece effect, ignore levels plus 3. When attacking, 15% chance to increase attack power by 50 points for 20 seconds. Regarding attributes or set effects, the Wind Extinguisher set equipment definitely possessed a qualitative increase compared to the Silvermoon set equipment. Shifeng's best available option was to gather this whole set now and upgrade his equipment. However, it would not be an easy task. After receiving the Wind Extinguisher breastplate, Shifeng was in no hurry to swap it out with his current breastplate. After all, once he made the change, he would lose one of the set effects of the Silvermoon set equipment. He only intended to make the change after he collected 4 pieces of the Wind Extinguisher set equipment. After distributing the equipment, everyone advanced towards the next boss. Now that Waterlake possessed a level 10 Mysterious Iron ranked shield, his defense and HP had both increased significantly. As a result, they easily dealt with the monsters they met on their journey. Within 10 minutes, they arrived at a fighting arena. In the middle of the arena, Warlock, a Beastman assassin, stood there. He was also the second boss of the Beastman munition factory. Warlock, High Chieftain rank. Level 12. HP 400,000/400,000. Although Warlock's HP was lower than Karur's, Warlock was, in reality, much harder to deal with than Karur. Unlike Karur, Warlock was an assassin. During battle, Warlock would unpredictably disappear and reappear at another location. He would also frequently attack players while ignoring aggro, choosing to attack players on the run line rather than those on the front line. More importantly, Warlock had 3 skills that rendered players speechless. The first skill he possessed was Armor Break. Every one of Warlock's attacks would inflict a stackable Armor Break effect. To any plate armor classes, this could be a fatal skill, as once the Armor Break effect reached 10 stacks, their defense would essentially reduce to 0. Even if it were an MT that possessed over 2000 HP, Warlock could still kill them with just 2 to 3 hits. Before the healers could replenish the MT's lost HP, the MT would have already succumbed to Warlock's stunning attack speed, dying helplessly. The only fortunate aspect for players was that the Armor Break effect only had a short duration of 30 seconds. Players rating Warlock only needed to swap out their MTs when the effect stacked up to 5 times. Warlock's second skill was Killing Feast. When activated, Warlock would attack all enemies within an 8-yard radius a total of 16 times. Throughout the duration of this skill, Warlock would enter a state of invulnerability. Moreover, Warlock would carry out these 16 attacks very quickly. He would finish all 16 attacks in just 2 seconds. If, when Warlock activated this skill, there were only the 2 MTs within range, these 2 MTs would die with a 100% guarantee. Thus, players needed to share the burden of this attack. This would also place an extreme pressure onto the healers. Warlock's third skill was called Vanish. When activated, Warlock would randomly ambush a player. If the ambushed player were a cloth armor class, then, without question, that player would die. Only players that belonged to a plate armor class would have any hopes of surviving Warlock's ambush. At this moment, everyone in the team looked towards Shifeng, intending to obtain his opinion on how to deal with this second High Chieftain boss. Contrary to their expectations, Shifeng did not tell them any strategies to raid the boss. Instead, he instructed 1 healer and 2 MTs to test the waters. Otherwise, he might have to explain how he obtained his strategy. After making a few tests, Shifeng started explaining his strategy for the initial stages of the boss fight. In reality, the plan was very simple. All plate armor classes would become tanks during the early stages of the raid, taking turns tanking Warlock. After all, Warlock's damage was not particularly high. It would only become powerful after the Armor Break effect stacked so many times. So, as long as one belonged to a plate armor class, they could withstand Morlock's damage. Naturally, it was the same when dealing with Morlock's killing feast. In short, players only needed to surround and beat up this boss. After 8 minutes passed, Morlock, the second boss of the Beastman munition factory, fell. The main reason for Morlock's fall was because Surpassing was simply too strong. Surpassing had practically tanked Morlock by himself. Surpassing was extremely nimble when dodging Morlock's attacks, and Morlock could very rarely land an attack on him. This, in turn, resulted in a decrease to Surpassing's damage output. With a stable tanker like Surpassing, the healers enjoyed a rather easy time throughout this raid. They could spread their attention towards other members of the team, allowing everyone to have an easier time dealing with the boss. Problems only arose when Morlock used Vanish and appeared behind a cloth armor class. These unfortunate players could only curse their own bad luck as they accepted their deaths. Chapter 214 Dungeon Cleared. Chapter 214 Dungeon Cleared. After Morlock died, he dropped a total of 4 pieces of mysterious iron equipment. Everyone received a share of 34 copper coins and a large amount of EXP. Meanwhile, Surpassing obtained a pair of wind extinguisher leg guards, increasing his collection of the wind extinguisher set equipment to 2 pieces. Everyone on the team looked at each other with a smile after they had killed Morlock, a high chieftain-ranked boss, with such ease. They all felt blissful from the fact that Surpassing had joined their team. Right now, no one on the team felt the same panic they had when they first entered the dungeon. They could joke around with each other, and had even become pals with Surpassing. Occasionally, they would even ask Surpassing to teach them a few battle techniques. While Surpassing gave out casual pointers, the team members' admiration for Surpassing gradually grew. Under Surpassing's casual guidance, many players in the team exhibited noticeable improvement. Soon after, everyone arrived at the final throne room. Here, they met the final boss, the Dark Warlock Salou. Dark Warlock Salou, High Chieftain rank. Level 12. HP 500,000/500,000. Elsewhere, while Surpassing and the others had arrived before the final boss, Dark Star's lone tyrant still tangled with the first boss of the Beastman munition factory, Karur. As of this moment, Lone Tyrant and his team had already experienced 3 team wipes. Moreover, Karur's avatar slash had caused all 3. They had not improved one little bit since their first battle. Lone Tyrant grew hysterical at this situation. He did not know why a 20-man dungeon would have such a huge increase in difficulty compared to a 10-man dungeon. After pondering for a long time, Lone Tyrant discovered the reason for their failures. This boss needs to be dealt with as quickly as possible. However, our overall damage simply isn't enough to finish him. Unless the team's equipment is further upgraded, the possibility of clearing this dungeon doesn't exist. Do we really have to go and upgrade our equipment before trying again? Lone Tyrant wore a hesitant expression as he glared at Karur. Due to his previous boasting, he was now stuck between a rock and a hard place. However, Lone Tyrant suddenly came to a realization. If the damage of his own team were insufficient to deal with Karur, then the Assassin's Alliance, who had poorer quality equipment, would have even less of a chance of killing Karur. At this moment, the team from the Assassin's Alliance must certainly be stuck at the first boss as well. When Lone Tyrant thought about this, his mood immediately lifted. He decided to reflect on their raiding strategy, giving the boss another try. Meanwhile, in the magnificent throne room of the Beastman munition factory, the Assassin's Alliance had already investigated the Dark Warlock Salou's skills. Aside from Dark Arrow being Salou's most basic attack, Salou was immune to all controlling effects. Salou also possessed 2 killing moves. One of them was a skill called Shadow Wound. When cast, the boss would fire 12 dark arrows. Each dark arrow would cause -800 damage and inflict a fear effect that lasted 6 seconds. The other was a skill called Summon Flame Giant. The Flame Giant was a level 12 special elite with 50,000 HP. Each Flame Giant that Salou summoned possessed self-immolation effect that dealt -300 flame damage to all targets within a 10-yard range every second. The Flame Giant was also the largest hurdle to overcome when raiding the Dark Warlock Salou, as the self-immolation was an AoE dot. If any players other than MTs received -300 flame damage every second, they would last 4 to 5 seconds at most. Meanwhile, Salou would summon an additional flame giant every 1 to 2 minutes. Factoring in the fear effect from Shadow Wound, many players in the team would die under the combination of these two skills. Even if this combination did not immediately kill them, with 3 flame giants running about, they would similarly end in destruction. 3 flame giants would mean -900 total damage per second. Even Surpassing could not last 3 seconds under this damage, much less the other players in the team. However, if they focused their attacks on the flame giants summoned instead, they would waste precious time. As a result, Salou would fully recover his HP due to his battle recovery. A battle of attrition like this would only end with the healers exhausting their mana and a team wipe. Meanwhile, after sending a group of half a dozen players to test the waters, everyone learned Dark Warlock Salou's true strength. As a result, their hearts sunk, and their confidence wavered. Ignoring the fact that each of Salou's dark arrows could cause -800 damage to their MTs and -1000 damage to everyone else, the flame giants alone were extremely difficult to deal with. After all, none of the melee players could go near a flame giant, and even if only the MTs tanked it, the healers still wouldn't be able to cope with the high damage. Not to mention, there was also Salou's AoE skill, Shadow Wound, that would suddenly cause -800 damage. The flame giant itself could cause over -300 damage to the MT with its attacks. Coupling that with the flame giant's self-immolation effect, its prowess could rival that of a boss. If they suddenly received an attack from Salou's Shadow Wound in addition to the flame giant's attacks, even their MTs might instantly die. Moreover, if they did not kill the first flame giant within 1 to 2 minutes of its summoning, Salou would summon the second flame giant. Under the simultaneous attacks of 2 flame giants, their MTs wouldn't have a chance. With their current equipment and levels, it was impossible for them to face Dark Warlock Salou head-on in battle. Thinking up to this point, everyone's moods grew somber. Isn't this only hard mode? Why is the difficulty so high? What would happen if this were hell mode? Stabbing Heart was similarly bitter after seeing Dark Warlock Salou's capabilities. The guild leader of the Assassins' Alliance, Cruel Sword, wrinkled his brows, falling into deep thought. Salou's rating difficulty was clearly much higher than the previous 2 bosses. As expected of a final boss, it won't be easy to clear this hurdle. At the very least, Cruel Sword did not have any good methods to raid Salou. While everyone was discouraged, "Why don't we give it a try first? It's not like we're completely helpless right now," Surpassing suddenly said in the team chat. Surpassing's words were like a ray of hope. "Brother Yifeng, can we really raid this boss?" Mu Qing blinked her mesmerizing eyes, her delicate body sticking close to Surpassing as she asked. "It should be possible. We can only find out if we try it, right?" Surpassing merely shrugged as he spoke, his calm appearance giving Mu Qing a slight surprise. Following which, Surpassing gave a brief overview of his raiding plan. Surpassing's plan was simple. He, alone, would kite the summoned flame giants, while the other members of the team would focus their attacks on the boss. In this situation, 3 of the 4 healers on the team would be responsible for healing the MTs, while the last healer would be responsible for keeping Surpassing alive. However, this plan was very risky. Its success relied heavily on Surpassing's ability to kite the flame giants. As the throne room did not provide a wide area for movement, Surpassing needed to be mindful of his positioning. Any mistakes could lead to a team wipe. However, nobody rejected Surpassing's proposal. They did not even have the slightest opinion about Surpassing's plan. They had long since been convinced of Surpassing's strength. Since Surpassing shared his plan, he must be very confident about it. Thus, they believed that Surpassing could really pull it off. "Water Lake, you'll activate Darkness Aura. White Feather, you'll activate Crusader Aura. Let's start the raid then," Surpassing said. A Guardian Knight's Darkness Aura could provide an additional 5 points dark resistance to allies, decreasing the darkness damage they received. Meanwhile, the Crusader Aura could increase allies' movement speed by 10%, letting everyone have an easier time evading the flame giants. With these two auras, the team would have a much easier time raiding the boss. Waterlake was the first to dash at Salou. While Salou was still in the process of casting a spell, Waterlake smashed Shield of Vengeance into Salou's face, causing -181 damage. Waterlake then followed up with Righteous Punishment, dealing -201 damage. However, either of these attacks had interrupted or delayed Salou's chanting, and shortly after, a streak of dark light skewered Waterlake through the chest, causing -800 damage to him. A moment later, 3 healing lights landed on Waterlake's body, recovering over 700 HP of his HP. After Waterlake solidified his grasp on Salou's aggro, Surpassing instructed the other players to initiate their attacks. After a moment, Salou pointed his staff towards the sky. A large, azure-green fireball descended from the sky, crashing into the throne room. Immediately, Surpassing tossed out the blazing meteor at the azure-green flame giant, causing -621 damage and instantly becoming its main target. Seeing the flame giant charging at him, Surpassing spun around and fled, luring the flame giant away from the rest of the team. He then started circling around the hall with the flame giant right behind him. As Salou's HP continued decreasing, the flame giants he summoned also grew stronger. Unfortunately, Surpassing lured away all of the flame giants Salou summoned, spoiling his fun. After more than 10 minutes, Salou released a resentful bellow. His body fell to the throne as he passed away. Chapter 215 Basic Fire Resistance Potion. Chapter 215 Basic Fire Resistance Potion. From beginning to end, Surpassing had lured a total of 9 flame giants, tiding them around the throne room. Due to his actions, the flame giants had not been able to showcase their prowess even once in this entire battle. As a result, the Dark Warlock Salou became very easy to deal with, breathing his last under everyone's heavy bombardment. Even an amazing boss could not compete against a reincarnated player. Their only fate was to be a plaything, unto death. Seeing Salou fall, everyone jumped in celebration. The Beastman Munition Factory belonged to the category of Expedition Dungeons. Unlike the Dark Moon Graveyard, which was a survival dungeon, players only needed to kill the final boss in an Expedition Dungeon to clear it. There was no need to leave the dungeon for the clear to be official. At this moment, the White River City Region System announcement had already appeared. White River City Region System announcement. Congratulations to Assassin's Alliance for becoming the first team to conquer the hard mode Beastman Munition Factory. All players within the team will be rewarded with 50,000 EXP and 1 silver coin. White River City Region System announcement. Congratulations to Assassin's Alliance for becoming the fastest team to conquer the hard mode Beastman Munition Factory. All players within the team will be rewarded with 50,000 EXP and 1 Tier 1 gemstone of random attribute. As it was not the first clear of Hell mode, the main god system would not be so generous as to reward them with reputation points. Normally, players would only receive EXP for obtaining the first clear of hard mode. Also, the race for Team Dungeons was categorized into 2 types, hard mode and Hell mode. Normal mode was not taken into consideration as no time challenge existed. Normally, the main god system would implement a clear time for Team Dungeons. The clear time set by the system depended on the type of Team Dungeon and its difficulty. Meanwhile, the hard mode Beastman Munition Factory's clear time was set at 3 hours. The main god system would usually set the clear time at a very high bar. Only if players had achieved the standard of an elite team, determined by the main god system, would they have a chance to clear the dungeon in this set amount of time. Meanwhile, under Surpassing's command, the Assassin's Alliance had only spent 2 hours and 22 minutes to clear the hard mode Beastman Munition Factory, surpassing the estimated time. This proved that the team's strength was already above the standards of a normal elite team. However, everyone on the team knew full well that this achievement was all due to Surpassing's contributions. After a round of mad celebration, everyone finally welcomed the most exciting moment. They began examining the item drops of the Dark Warlock Salou, the final boss monster of the Beastman Munition Factory. Compared to the previous two bosses, the loot from Salou was far more bountiful. Salou had dropped a total of 7 items. Among them, 5 were level 10 mysterious iron ranked helmets, each being a part of a set equipment for different classes. With great luck, Salou even dropped a basic fire resistance potion recipe. As for the final item, it was a secret silver staff meant for elementalists. Elemental Scepter, Staff, Secret Silver Rank. Level 10. Intelligence plus 15, Strength plus 4, Agility plus 4, Endurance plus 10. Increases elemental damage by 5%. Increases casting speed by 10%. Durability 80-80. With just a glance, one could immediately tell that this was a top-tier staff meant for elementalists. When the mages in the team looked at the details of this staff, drool nearly leaked from their mouths. Although these mages had quite a few pieces of mysterious iron equipment on their persons, their weapons and equipment were all below level 10. They were clearly much weaker compared to level 10 weapons and equipment, not to mention a secret silver rank staff. Cruel Sword immediately handed the elemental staff to Mu Qing. However, nobody in the team expressed any dissatisfaction about Cruel Sword's decision because Mu Qing's strength was indeed very powerful. Moreover, her damage was ranked number 1 amongst all the mages present. Following which, Cruel Sword handed the Wind Extinguisher helmet, Wind Extinguisher arm guard, and basic fire resistance potion recipe to Shifeng. Similarly, nobody in the team had any gripes about this decision. If it weren't for Shifeng, they would not have cleared this dungeon in the first place. With this, Shifeng now had 4 pieces of the Wind Extinguisher set equipment. Although he did not possess all 6 pieces, they were sufficient for him to replace the bronze rank Silvermoon set equipment. Brother Yifeng, you've helped us out so much, yet you're only taking so few items. I am truly embarrassed about this, so please let me pay you another 100,000 credits as compensation. Otherwise, if the other guilds discover this matter, they will definitely make mock us for being insincere. Cruel Sword said with a laugh as he looked at Shifeng. Putting aside the advertising benefits brought about from obtaining the first clear of the hard mode Beastman munition factory, just the equipment they obtained was already of considerable value. It was especially true for the secret silver ranked elemental scepter. The value of this staff alone could compare to half a dozen pieces of level 10 mysterious iron equipment. Hence, spending an additional 100,000 credits to compensate Shifeng was a minor matter. To put it another way, the Assassin's Alliance had made a huge profit from this deal. After all, the first clear of a 20-man hard mode team dungeon held extraordinary significance, as up until this moment, any guild had yet to obtain the first clear of a 20-man hard mode team dungeon. Obtaining the first clear of the hard mode Beastman munition factory had undeniably allowed the Assassin's Alliance to break free from their awkward position in White River City. They no longer had to suffer the suppression from Dark Star. Of course, by giving Shifeng 100,000 credits, Cruel Sword also had the intention of deepening the relationship between Shifeng and the Assassin's Alliance. Cruel Sword still wished to recruit Shifeng into the guild. Shifeng could easily see through Cruel Sword's intentions. However, he merely smiled in reply, receiving all that Cruel Sword offered without hesitation. Cruel Sword had no idea that Shifeng did not really care about this equipment. Even if it were the Wind Extinguisher set equipment, it was simply a temporary set of equipment for Shifeng. Meanwhile, amongst these items, the one Shifeng paid the most attention to was the Basic Fire Resistance Potion recipe. Basic Fire Resistance Potion. After consumption, increases fire resistance by 15 points for 1 hour. Currently, this item had no market value. However, when the various large guilds started raiding the level 25 Flame Nest, the value of this basic fire resistance potion recipe would soar beyond one's imagination. Its worth would not be less than a piece of fine gold equipment. Players were not allowed to use the Flaming Sun scripture when in a dungeon. Meanwhile, equipment that increased a player's fire resistance was extremely rare. The quickest way to increase one's fire resistance was through the use of a basic fire resistance potion. If players did not possess this potion, raiding the flame nest would only be possible in their dreams. If Surpassing started looking for a potion maker to craft the basic fire resistance potion now, he would carve out an additional path to wealth for the future. Even 10 pieces of secret silver equipment could not rival what he could earn with these potions. Brother Yifeng, are you free tomorrow? At this moment, Mu Qing walked over to Surpassing after receiving a silent hint from Cruel's sword. Sweetly, she said, "My party is planning to raid the old ruins, a high-level 10-man team dungeon, tomorrow. However, one of the original party members had applied for leave due to some personal matters. I'd really love it if you would join me. Will you?" After a team dungeon was cleared, it would have a cooldown period of 3 days. Hence, they needed to wait for 3 days before they could enter the Beastman munition factory again. Standing to the side, Cruel's sword inwardly clapped his hands at Mu Qing's performance. Relationships needed care and gentle nurturing. Although he could tell that Surpassing had no particular interest in Mu Qing, with increased interactions, who was to say would happen in the future? "I still have something that I need to do tomorrow. Let's find some other time to go dungeon diving." Surpassing could naturally tell what Mu Qing was trying to do. However, he simply waved his hand and tactfully rejected her. Although the old ruins was a high-level team dungeon, there was nothing there that could rouse his interests. He would only waste time by going there. Now that he had changed into the 4 pieces of wind extinguisher set equipment, his attributes had greatly increased once again. He should be able to attempt the continuation of the epic quest, Darkness Descends, now. Mu Qing's innocent eyes flashed with a hint of disappointment. She did not think that her charm, which had only brought her success so far, would fail against Surpassing. Was she really lacking in charm, or were Surpassing's defenses just too high? Chapter 216 Surpassing Imagination. Chapter 216 Surpassing Imagination. Beastmen Munition Factory. "Boss, we've already team-wiped 4 times now and have lost 20% of our experience. If we are to continue to die at this rate, we might not even be a high enough level to enter the dungeon's entrance. Why don't we give up?" "Alright then. Everyone get some rest. Afterwards we'll head to a 10-man dungeon to upgrade our equipment." Lone Tyrant currently wore a gloomy expression on his face. They had tried all sorts of methods to raid the high chieftain-ranked boss, Karur, yet, ultimately, they still failed due to a lack of damage. Before, he had even made a solemn vow to kill Karur. Now that he thought about it, he felt that his decision had been slightly rash. Fortunately, the players from the Assassin's Alliance had absolutely no chances of clearing the dungeon. Otherwise, he would be utterly humiliated. Just as the members of Dark Star were resting, suddenly, 2 system notifications relating to the Assassin's Alliance rang out beside everyone's ears. In the beginning, the members of Dark Star thought that they had heard wrong. Hence, they quickly called up the announcement interface. The extraordinarily large and clear words proved them wrong. The Assassin's Alliance had indeed obtained the first clear of the hard-mode Beastman munition factory. Immediately, the atmosphere surrounding the members of Dark Star sunk. Why was there such a large difference between their 2 teams? Weren't they supposed to be stronger than the Assassin's Alliance? How could the Assassin's Alliance have already obtained the first clear, while they were still stuck at the first boss? Lone Tyrant felt like he had just been given 2 tight slaps to his face when he looked at these notifications. His cheeks felt as if they were on fire. He felt even worse when he recalled Surpassing's words from before. If the nobodies that you've looked down on suddenly obtain the first clear of the hard-mode beast munition factory a step ahead of you, then what would you all amount to? At this moment those words were like sharp swords, continuously slashing at Lone Tyrant's pride. Lone Tyrant truly never imagined that such a situation would occur. However, Lone Tyrant was no fool. He did not believe the Assassin's Alliance had relied on only themselves to clear the dungeon. The only possible way they could do so was with Surpassing's help. Just where did this mysterious person come from? In reality, Dark Star wasn't the only one to have been shocked by this piece of news. When the announcement spread throughout the entire White River City region, it had grabbed the attention of many other guilds. The Assassins' Alliance's position in White River City was self-evident from the fact that their development speed had surpassed even that of a first-rate guild. However, Dark Star's fame had recently suppressed Assassins' Alliance, adding to the fact that they had not produced any significant results from the team dungeons. Their status in White River City had become slightly awkward. Now that they had obtained the first clear of the Beastman munition factory, their fame instantly soared. This allowed the Assassins' Alliance to regain their rightful reputation. From now on, their development speed would definitely be faster than before. White River City's Adventurers Association. Brother Zhang! Brother Zhang! The Assassins' Alliance has obtained the first clear of the hard-mode Beastman munition factory. Ling Failong suddenly rushed into Shadow's guild hall, announcing the news with a face filled with excitement. In God's domain, as long as guilds registered themselves at the Adventurers Association, they would be provided a free lounge for their own personal use in the various large cities. Guilds could carry out meetings and rest in this room, and they could also receive quests from the Adventurers Association. Why are you shouting? Who doesn't know of this matter? Zhou Yuhu, who was resting in the corner of the room, rolled his eyes at Ling Failong. Of course I know of this. However, there is another hidden truth to this matter. Ling Failong shot a glance at Zhou Yuhu, before shifting his gaze towards the person sitting in the guild leader's seat, Zhang Luowei. A hidden truth? Speak. Ling Failong's words caused Zhang Luowei, who had previously been indifferent towards this matter, to grow interested. Ling Failong's previous report about his efforts to recruit Yi Feng had nearly caused Zhang Luowei to lash out in anger. Shi Feng had actually demanded to become the guild leader of Shadow. Did Yi Feng even place him in his eyes? Moreover, he had asked for 60% of the guild's shares. What did he take them for? Did he really think they were fools? Meanwhile, the most shocking thing was that Ling Failong had actually suggested that Zhang Luowei accept Shi Feng's conditions. Hence, Zhang Luowei now looked down on Ling Failong, resulting in Ling Failong receiving cold treatment within the guild. Brother Zhang, look at the Assassins' Alliance's first clear name list. Yi Feng is among the names. Ling Failong called out his system interface, pointing at the Assassins' Alliance's first clear name list as he spoke excitedly. So? Zhou Yuvu laughed disdainfully. If they really allowed Yi Feng to join Shadow, he would no longer need to remain in the guild. The Assassins' Alliance is a through-and-through second-rate guild. They were clearly on an expedition to clear the Beastman munition factory, yet, why would they suddenly let an outsider join their team? Previously, for a long time, the Assassins' Alliance could not even obtain a single first clear of a level 10 team dungeon. However, they are now the first ones to obtain the first clear of a 20-man hard-mode team dungeon. Why is that? This matter definitely has something to do with Yi Feng. Yi Feng's relationship with the Assassins' Alliance is anything but shallow. Originally, the Assassins' Alliance was only a normal second-rate guild. However, after entering White River City, their development speed suddenly soared like crazy. They have even surpassed many first-rate guilds. Again, why? Yi Feng was the first person to enter White River City, and the White River City guidebook is also selling like hotcakes now. There is a very high likelihood that Yi Feng sold the guidebook to the Assassins' Alliance in advance, allowing them to make ample preparations beforehand. Hence, after they entered White River City, they developed with flying speeds. Right now, Yi Feng has even helped the Assassins' Alliance obtain a first clear. Regarding fame or background, the Assassins' Alliance now stands at the very top of White River City. They have even surpassed many first-rate guilds. This is a clear proof of Yi Feng's capabilities. If Yi Feng joins Shadow, within a month, we can stand our own ground in White River City. Ling Failong had made a thorough investigation of Yi Feng, and the more information he uncovered about Yi Feng, the more frightened he became. Yi Feng's accomplishments far surpassed his imagination. This was also the reason Ling Failong became even more determined to hug a golden leg like Shi Feng. At that time, what would Zhang Luowei amount to? What would Lan Hailong amount to? Don't even think about it. In the future, if you ever dare to mention Yi Feng's name to me again or tell Lan Hailong about this matter, you better be prepared for the consequences. Jean Louis's countenance suddenly turned livid. With a tone filled with killing intent, he said, Yi Feng is just a clown, jumping about on the stage. The Assassins' Alliance is an apex second-rate guild with an immense background. Their guild leader, Cruel Sword, is even a long-established expert. He has personally nurtured the Assassins' Alliance to its current status, so it is not unusual for him to produce such results. To begin with, what sort of impact could that Yi Feng even have? In my opinion, that Yi Feng would, at best, take on the role of a bystander. Being reprimanded by Zhang Luowei in such a way, Ling Failong immediately revealed a fearful expression. Hurriedly nodding his head, he said, Yes, I understand, Brother Zhang. I definitely won't mention this again in the future. Inwardly, however, Ling Failong smiled brightly. He was even more assured of Yi Feng's might now. After all, if Zhang Luowei did not feel greatly threatened by Yi Feng, why would he be so angry at the mention this expert? In fact, Ling Failong had long since told Lan Hailong about this matter, and Lan Hailong had instructed him to contact Shi Feng secretly once more. Once he attained certain achievements in God's domain, would he still be afraid of not being able to earn money? With wealth, would he still need to be afraid that Zhao Ruoxi wouldn't welcome his embrace of her own volition? Her family might very well obediently hand her over to him. Just as everyone discussed the Assassins' Alliance's first clear, Shi Feng had already swapped out his old equipment for the 4 pieces of the wind extinguisher set equipment, and had arrived at the library of White River City. Compared to the dilapidated house used as a library in Redleaf Town, the library at White River City was a true library. Not only did it possess a majestic atmosphere, but its appearance was also splendid and magnificent. It was like a Babylonian shrine, and it was situated right in the heart of the city. The people going through the entrance of the library were mostly nobles of White River City and mage-class NPCs. There were even some who possessed Tier 2 classes. Hence, the library was not a place where the common folk could simply visit. Meanwhile, Charlin, the Tier 3 divine official whom Shi Feng searched for, currently recuperated within this wealth of knowledge. Chapter 217 Thoughtful Rain. Chapter 217 Thoughtful Rain. At the entrance of White River City's majestic library. Aside from a large number of NPCs entering and leaving the premises, there were also plenty of players surrounding the library's entrance. However, no matter how hard they tried, they still could not enter the library. Hence, a majority of these players were currently trying to befriend some of the NPCs here, increasing their intimacy in the hopes of these NPCs taking them along into the library. There were even some attractive female players that tried to seduce the NPC nobles. Meanwhile, the players that attempted these actions were mostly mages such as elementalists, cursemancers, and summoners. As for why these players tried to get into the library, it was mainly because of the amazing skills they could learn within the library. Aside from obtaining these skills from monsters and dungeons, the library also possessed some of the more common, high-level mage skills. As for healers, they would have to visit the Light Temple to learn their respective skills. Meanwhile, all melee classes could learn new skills from their respective class instructors in the Apocalypse Temple. These players had read about the library in the White River City guidebook by Shi Feng. Hence, they had all come here to obtain new skills. After all, compared to upgrading their weapons and equipment, it was much easier to upgrade their arsenal of skills. As long as players could learn some of these high-level skills, their overall prowess would massively improve. However, learning a skill was very expensive. Players also needed to do a series of quests, and waste precious time to obtain a skill. Hence, Shi Feng never thought of obtaining his skills through such means. After all, the skills he had learned so far were not any weaker than those high-level class-specific skills. So, he naturally would not waste time trying to obtain them. Seeing Shi Feng walking towards the library's entrance, the spectating players by the sidelines revealed sneers on their faces. Look, another new guy is trying to enter. How many players has that been already? Let's watch the guard kick him out. Most of these players had suffered a loss at the hands of the gatekeeper. As none of them possessed an entry pass, the guards had chased them all away. There were also some players who tried to cause a scene after being refused entry. However, these players were either jailed or sent flying away with a kick. Just as Shirfong was about to walk towards the tightly shut large steel doors, a female elementalist pulled on Shirfong, stopping him. The guards here will kick out any player without an entry pass. It is best if you do not try to approach them, the female player warned Shirfong. Shirfong already knew this. However, since the other party had approached him with kind intentions, Shirfong turned his head and looked at the female player that had stopped him. Immediately, Shirfong discovered that the female player who stopped him was very beautiful. Amongst all the female elementalists he knew, only the flame witch, Zhao Yueru, might trump this girl's beauty. Moreover, the equipment on this girl fully comprised of mysterious iron equipment. Although her weapons and equipment were all below level 10, they were still extremely valuable. As the girl before him was an independent player, it was much more difficult for her to obtain such equipment compared to a member of a guild. However, for some unknown reason, Shirfong felt a sense of familiarity when he looked at this female player. Yet, he could not recall when he had met her before. He then used observing eyes and took a look at this girl's name. Thoughtful Rain. Shirfong had no recollection of this ID, and he was very sure that there was no female expert in his previous life with such a name. Since she was not a female expert, why did he feel a sense of familiarity with her? Shirfong shook his head. There was no point thinking about it if he couldn't remember. It might just be a misconception due to his reincarnation. Thanks, Shirfong said. Thoughtful Rain faintly smiled. She thought that, since Shirfong had shown his appreciation, he must have a kind personality, unlike others who would reply to goodwill with malice. Hence, she pointed towards the group of players a short distance away that was currently surrounding a few NPC nobles, softly saying, "And your attitude isn't so bad after all. If you wish to enter the library, it is best if you obtain an entry pass first. You can also try to befriend one of those NPC nobles. They possess some entry passes." "Miss Rain, are you trying to enter the library as well?" Shirfong asked. But those NPC nobles are simply too vile. So, I was just about to leave in search of an entry pass somewhere else. Thoughtful Rain nodded her head. However, when she recalled those fat and oily NPC nobles, an expression of disgust appeared on her face. "Since that is the case, why don't you enter the library with me?" Shirfong asked. He had no ulterior motives in inviting her along. He was simply trying to repay Thoughtful Rain's kind reminder. "Enter?" Thoughtful Rain asked in confusion. "Do you have an entry pass?" "No." Shirfong shook his head. He then smiled as he explained. "However, I have other methods. It shouldn't be possible, right? The guards here will only allow those with an entry pass or those related to the library to enter." Thoughtful Rain revealed an unconvinced expression as if saying, "You're tricking me." Shirfong merely smiled at her reaction, not bothering to explain. He then walked towards the large metal doors. Before Thoughtful Rain could stop Shirfong, the guard on duty had already noticed him. The spectating players in the distance all started snickering at the thought of the misfortune about to befall on Shirfong. "This noob is trying too hard to impress the beauty he just met. I want to watch the guard put him in his place. With his figure, I'm guessing that the guard will send him flying over 10 yards. If he continues making a ruckus, the guard might even capture him and hang him by the library's entrance for display. That isn't right. The guard kicked that last berserker over 10 yards. I bet that he will fly 15 yards away." Just as everyone wore mocking smiles, the guard moved forward and blocked Shirfeng's path. "Halt!" The powerful and mighty guard at the entrance suddenly blocked Shirfong with his spear. He then coldly said, "You will need to present your pass if you wish to enter the library. I'm a demon hunter. Will that do?" Shirfong swapped out his Might of 1,000 title for the Demon Hunter title, asking, "So, it is Lord Demon Hunter? Please pardon my rudeness." The gatekeeper immediately retracted his spear, showing Shirfong extreme respect. This situation immediately stunned the spectating players standing at a side. Their mouths gaped as the scene left them speechless. Even after they tried countless methods to obtain an entry pass from the NPC nobles, they still failed. Yet, the noob before them had actually made the gatekeeper kneel before him in respect just by uttering a single sentence. Could this be the rumored secret signal? Or was it the entry password? Surpassing nodded towards the guard. He then pointed at thoughtful Rain, saying, "She is a friend of mine. However, she does not possess an entry pass. I wonder if she can enter with me? I can be her guarantor." "Of course. Since she is a friend of the Lord Demon Hunter, she is naturally allowed to enter." The guard took a look at thoughtful Rain, immediately noticing that she was an exquisite beauty. He then returned his gaze to Surpassing, an understanding look on his face as he hurriedly said, "In addition, here is a library member's emblem. This will allow Lord Demon Hunter's friend to enter the library freely in the future." Saying so, the guard respectfully passed the library member's emblem to Surpassing. Surpassing was slightly stunned. God's domain had only undergone one evolution as of this moment. He never thought that these NPC guards would be so intelligent already. Though he felt slightly shocked, he had no hesitation when accepting the library member's emblem from the guard. An entry pass could only provide a single entry into the library for players. However, one could not complete the process of learning a new skill with a single trip. Meanwhile, there was no limit to the number of uses for the library member's emblem. Players could enter the library without any restrictions if they possessed this emblem. Originally, obtaining the library member's emblem for a friend was a special right reserved for nobles in White River City. Surpassing did not think that even a demon hunter would have such rights. "Miss Rain, please hold on to this library member's emblem properly. In the future you simply need to wear it on your person, and none of these guards will bar you from the library," Surpassing said, handing the emblem to thoughtful Rain, who was currently still in a daze. Following which, the two of them entered the library under everyone's stunned gazes. Some of the players were immediately dumbfounded. A few female players also revealed their envy as they watched thoughtful Rain. At this moment, the players who had previously mocked Surpassing ran up to the library's entrance. "Halt!" The gatekeeper blocked all the players, coldly saying, "You will need to present your pass if you wish to enter the library. I'm a demon hunter. Will that do?" These players repeated Surpassing's words, inwardly praising themselves for their clever minds. "How brave! You actually dare to impersonate the Lord Demon Hunter?" When the guard swept a glance over these players, he failed to discover any of them in possession of the Demon Hunter title. Immediately, the guard flared with anger. In the end, all these smart people ended up in tragedy. Chapter 218 Starstreak Trading Firm. Chapter 218 Starstreak Trading Firm. After Surpassing and thoughtful Rain entered the library, thoughtful Rain's eyes flashed with a hint of shock when she saw the spectacular scene inside the library. The interior of the library was like something from a fantasy world. Countless documents and materials were displayed all around the library, and a massive, transparent crystal globe occupied the center. This crystal globe was like a supercomputer. One could search for any information available pertaining to the Star Moon Kingdom. Meanwhile, numerous open-air meditation rooms made of magic crystals decorated the surroundings of the crystal globe. Inside these meditation rooms, players could either research new spells or practice using their current spells. Normally, only Tier 3 and above mage classes would research new spells. The players at this stage of the game had yet to possess a deep understanding of magic, so researching new spells was out of the question for them. Moreover, the spells that players currently used were only entry-level spells. However, along with the increase in their levels, the spells they used would also grow more complex. If they did not possess a specific degree of understanding of magic, they could stop dreaming of casting any high-tier spells. As a result, many mages in God's domain had given up on their adventuring career, switching to a lifestyle class instead. In fact, magic wasn't the only thing that had stringent requirements for players. It was the same for battle techniques. The more powerful a battle technique was, the higher its requirement would be of a player's control over their body. As a result, this requirement had created a gap in strength between the players of God's domain. It was one of the reasons that some players could advance to a Tier 5 class, while some failed even to reach Tier 3. Although it would be of some help if players increased their levels and attributes, such factors would make little difference the further players advanced in God's domain. This was also the reason why God-tier powerhouses were so rare. Thus, Surpassing continuously trained his body day in and day out, in addition to spending a large number of credits to purchase nutrient fluids to improve his body's physique. It was all meant to improve his brain's potential and performance. Only by developing his brain's potential could he master his body in the game and obtain extraordinary battle prowess. He could then advance to a Tier 5 class and take the challenge to advance to the Tier 6 godhood, reaching the pinnacle of God's domain. Let's part ways here. I still need to look for someone. If you want to learn high-level skills, the Tier 2 instructor over there can help you. Surpassing pointed towards a mage in white robes standing by the large crystal globe. Thank you. Thoughtful Rain appeared slightly embarrassed as she expressed her gratitude. Originally, she had intended to help Surpassing. Never would she have imagined that she would be the one who received help instead. She then said, "Seeing as you are so familiar with this place, are you perhaps a professional player?" "I guess you can put it that way." Surpassing nodded. "Let's add each other as friends then. I don't normally play games, so I usually buy my game equipment from others. In the future, if I am looking to purchase equipment or do a quest, I can also look to you for some help." Thoughtful Rain beamed a smile as she sent Surpassing a friend request. "That's fine, but if you need help with a quest, it would be best if you contact me about it in advance." Surpassing accepted the friend request. He did not think that, by coming here to do a quest, he would actually meet a potential female customer. When his workshop started its operations in the future, aside from raiding dungeons to obtain equipment, they would also need to look for tycoons and various corporations for sponsorship. However, it was extremely difficult for an upstart workshop to obtain sponsorship from a large corporation. Newly established workshops usually depended on rich players who were willing to spend large sums of money. Only after becoming a large guild would a workshop attract the sponsorship of large corporations. Although Surpassing's workshop had yet to start its operation officially, there was already one customer waiting at the front door. His luck was relatively good. After Surpassing left, Thoughtful Rain inspected Surpassing's ID. "Oh, he is Yifeng, White River City's #1 expert." As Surpassing had kept his ID hidden, it was only revealed after Surpassing accepted her friend request. Although Thoughtful Rain was not a gaming expert, having a poor understanding of the gaming world, Surpassing's fame had long since shaken the White River City region. He had also received many titles such as White River City's #1 independent player, God-ranked expert, and so on. Furthermore, Surpassing had also personally penned the luxury version of the White River City guidebook she had bought. So, how could she not know who Surpassing was? No wonder why I thought he looked familiar. It turns out that he is Yifeng. This looks interesting. Thoughtful Rain's bright red lips slightly lifted upwards as she lost herself in her own thoughts. On the library's uppermost floor, Starmoon Hall. Several level 180 Tier 1 knights stood guard outside of Starmoon Hall. These knights wore rigid expressions. Under normal circumstances, even normal nobles were not allowed into the Starmoon Hall. However, these knights did not stop Surpassing this time. On the contrary, they immediately parted the crystal doors for Surpassing upon his arrival. "I've been bitterly waiting for you for so long. Why have you only decided to come now?" Charlene asked, smiling sweetly from her seat next to a shiny, stone table. The woman currently wore a set of pure white, magical robes. The delicate and luxurious robes radiated a faint silvery glow, making Charlene appear as though she were a flawless noble saint. She crossed one thigh over the other, revealing fair, supple skin. It was almost as if Charlene was trying to toy with Surpassing. At this moment, Charlene was no longer a level 20 Tier 3 divine official, but a level 180 Tier 3 divine official. Aside from the few Tier 4 tyrants, Charlene could very well be considered the most powerful person in White River City. "Why are you standing there, daydreaming? Come over here and sit. We have plenty of time to have a lengthy chat." Charlene smiled faintly as she pointed towards the empty seat beside her. Sherfong instinctively shuddered when he faced a gold digger like Charlene. He felt as if he were being stared at by a nine-tailed fox, his wallet no longer safe. However, to obtain the clue for the epic quest, Sherfong had no choice but to advance, taking a seat beside Charlene. Sherfong took out 10 gold coins, placing them on the table. He then asked in a soft tone, "Esteemed Lady Charlene, I brought the 10 gold coins you requested. I wonder if you can tell me the location of the Bible of Darkness now?" Charlene made a slight waving motion and the gold coins on the stone table immediately flew to her lily-white hand. Giggling, she played with the shiny coins in her hand. "I didn't think that your money-making speed would be so fast. This big sister has truly underestimated you." After storing the gold coins, Charlene unhurriedly said, "However, I now have a new piece of information. I wonder if you would be interested in hearing it? Moreover, this information is extremely accurate. It will definitely help you in locating the Bible of Darkness." Sherfeng's lips involuntarily twitched at Charlene's words. She was going to ask for more money. "Say it. How much do you want?" Sherfeng truly felt regretful now. Due to the successful sales of hard stones, Sherfeng now had over 70 gold coins on his person. If he had known something like this would happen, he would have stored all his money in the bank before coming to the library. However, there was also another possibility. Only when players possessed a certain amount of money could they trigger the revelation of new information. If so, without a doubt, Sherfeng had reached this goal. "Not much, an additional 40 gold coins would be enough. Of course, you can choose not to listen to this new information. I'm not trying to belittle you, but with your current strength, it is impossible for you to locate the Bible of Darkness by relying on the old clue. Are you sure you don't want to know this new clue?" Charlene blinked her eyes at Sherfeng, her body radiating a holy aura. Those affected by this aura would find it hard to refuse Charlene's request. A total of 50 gold coins. At this moment, Sherfeng wanted to shout, "Why don't you just rob me and be done with it?" However, Sherfeng endured it. As long as he could obtain the reward for the epic quest, spending 50 gold coins was nothing in comparison. "Here is 40 gold coins." Sherfeng ground his teeth as he placed another 40 gold coins on the stone table, forming a small, gold mountain. Charlene's eyes shone as she saw the small mountain of gold. After snagging the gold coins, she unhurriedly took out a letter and handed it to Sherfeng. She then said, "This is a contract for White River City's Starstreak trading firm. As long as you bring this contract to President Henry, he will tell you how to reach the Dark Denver." Chapter 219 Background. Chapter 219 Background. Starstreak trading firm? Sherfeng was slightly confused by Charlene's words. After all, this was the second phase of an epic quest. Yet Charlene did not send him on a dangerous mission, but simply to find a person instead. The difficulty of this task was simply inconceivable. Could money really make the devil turn millstones for you? Can spending money reduce the difficulty of a quest? Sherfeng wondered. Giving the situation some thought, it wasn't exactly impossible. Right now, a first-rate guild's daily liquid funds only amounted to 6 to 7 gold coins at best. Even if Fantasy Extinguisher had the full support of the first-rate guild, the Fantasy Shrine, it would have been impossible for him to gather 50 gold coins. Even if the Fantasy Shrine possessed 50 gold coins, they would not simply allow Fantasy Extinguisher to spend it. After all, a large guild could make major improvements to itself with 50 gold coins. If Sherfeng had not received a daily income of over 100 gold coins from selling the hard stones, he would not pay 50 gold coins, even if it killed him. According to the main god system's principle of equal value exchange, there was a very high possibility that he could reduce the difficulty of the epic quest by paying 50 gold coins. In any case, Sherfeng did not lack money right now. After all, he had a daily income of over 100 gold. His earnings could rival the total sum of all the famous guilds' liquid funds in White River City. It was not an exaggeration to say that his personal wealth could rival an entire city's. If he could reduce the difficulty of an epic quest by paying some money, he would definitely do so. If he had known about this earlier, he would have waited a few more days before coming to meet Charlene. If he gathered 500 or 600 gold coins, he might be able to go to the dark den immediately to complete the quest. He would save plenty of time and trouble. Thank you, Lady Charlene. Surfong respectfully received the contract. I have faith in you. Don't make me wait too long. As more time passes, the strength of the great demon will also increase. At that time, even I might not be able to challenge it. As for you, you'll just have to live the remainder of your life as a walking corpse, Charlene warned. System: Second phase of the epic quest Darkness Descends Gospel Project, accepted. Quest content: Go to Starstreak trading firm and look for President Henry for more information about the Dark Den rewards unknown. Although Surfong did not know the exact contents of the quest, he felt that it should not be as easy as he had previously imagined. After all, he was only meeting Henry to learn more information and not heading directly to the Dark Denver. Starstreak trading firm was very famous throughout White River City. The range of operation of the Starstreak trading firm was not limited to White River City alone. It also operated in the 7 cities surrounding White River City. It was a massive trading firm. With such a wide reach, the amount of information they possessed would be immense as well. It was no wonder Charlene sent him to meet President Henry. Soon after, Surfong bade farewell to Charlene. If he remained here, the remaining 20 gold coins in his pockets might very well end up in Charlene's pockets instead. After leaving the library, Surfong hailed a horse carriage and hurried over to Starstreak trading firm. As the horse carriage galloped through the wide streets, Surfong could see players who had just arrived at White River City all around. Through the passing of time, the atmosphere in White River City had grown livelier. There was a high possibility that, in just another few days, the streets of White River City would be packed with people. 10 minutes or so later, the horse carriage halted in front of the storefront of Starstreak trading firm. The Starstreak trading firm store appeared luxurious. The building had a total of 6 floors. This store was definitely one of the tallest buildings in White River City, making it extremely eye-catching. Moreover, it was situated in a very good location, right in the heart of the trade area. The Bank of White River City was also just next door, while the auction house was only a short distance away. There were only 8 shops in total situated within this golden district. Among them, 3 shops occupied the largest areas. Each occupied 2 to 3 times more land than the other shops. Naturally, Starstreak trading firm was one of these shops. Moreover, Starstreak trading firm similarly occupied such a golden district in the other 7 cities. It was obvious just how powerful the background of Starstreak trading firm was. During the initial stages of God's domain, countless first-rate guilds had tried to form connections with the Starstreak trading firm to conduct business. Unfortunately, these guilds failed to meet even the shadow of President Henry. Yet, right now, Surfong could get in touch with President Henry through his quest. Surfong couldn't help but admit that an epic quest was truly awe-inspiring. Although the price of failure was similarly horrifying, as long as he could complete it, the benefits he could obtain were unimaginable. The best example for this was the Demon Hunter title and Demon Mask Surfong had received from completing the first phase of the Darkness Descends quest. These 2 items had been of great help to him. I wonder what sort of rewards I could obtain from completing this phase of the quest? Surfong inwardly felt anticipation. As of this moment, Surfong had finally realized why the Fantasy Shrine would hold nothing back in helping Fantasy Extinguisher complete his epic quest. After all, the profits they could reap from this quest was just astonishing. If a mere independent player like him could receive such profits, what could a guild accomplish? Hence, this was the reason the Fantasy Shrine had risen to the top of Black Dragon Empire during the early periods of the game in the past, suppressing all the other first-rate guilds. Unfortunately, Fantasy Shrine was doomed to normality in this life. Unless Fantasy Extinguisher managed to find another epic quest, Fantasy Shrine would not have any chances of achieving prominence. However, such a discovery was extremely unlikely. In the past, Surfong had only accepted 1 epic quest throughout the decade he had spent in God's domain. Moreover, he had only received it by chance when he was around level 150. One could imagine just how rare an epic quest was. At this moment, Shifeng suddenly received a system announcement. White River City Region System Announcement. Congratulations to Ouroboros for becoming the first team to conquer the hard mode Crystal Ruins. All players within the team will be rewarded with 50,000 EXP and 1 silver coin. White River City Region System Announcement. Congratulations to Ouroboros for becoming the fastest team to conquer the hard mode Crystal Ruins. All players within the team will be rewarded with 50,000 EXP and 1 Tier 1 gemstone of random attribute. This system announcement undeniably caused a sensation among the players in White River City. Right now, the independent players who had arrived in White River City all had impressive techniques. Meanwhile, a large majority of them were unwilling to join a small guild. They all wished to join a large, top-tier guild. However, these independent players would not determine a guild's strength solely through the fame of the guild. After all, every time a guild started out in a new virtual reality game, they had to start from the very bottom. Moreover, there would always be some nameless guild suddenly rising in the ranks, becoming the tyrant of this new virtual reality game. Similarly, there was also plenty of well-known guilds that had vanished without a trace. Hence, players would usually determine a guild's strength through their dungeon raiding capabilities. This situation also caused the system announcements to be extraordinarily important to guilds, as this was the basis of reference for independent players. In fact, the players who had previously intended to join the Assassin's Alliance had all changed their minds to join Ouroboros instead. After all, not only was Ouroboros a first-rate guild, but they had also obtained the first clear of a Hell mode dungeon. Regarding wealth, influence, or strength, Ouroboros was far more powerful than the Assassin's Alliance. Even an idiot knew which guild to choose. This was the difference in backgrounds. As expected of Gentle Snow, her speed is astonishing. I've only just recently helped the Assassin's Alliance obtain the first clear of a 20-man hard mode team dungeon, yet, in the blink of an eye, she too has obtained one already. If she had not suddenly stopped playing God's Domain, she might have turned Ouroboros into a super guild in the past. Shifeng inwardly exclaimed. How great would it be if he could recruit Gentle Snow into his own guild? If Shifeng incorporated the cleric god, Violet Cloud, the tyrant bear, Kola, the skillful fire dance, and his own past experiences into his own guild, they would have no trouble becoming a first-rate guild, or even a super guild, in the future. Thinking up to this point, Shifeng suddenly felt that he really needed to upgrade his team's strength. After all, a guild couldn't rely on a handful of Apex experts for support. They needed a stronger backbone. The best-case scenario for Shifeng right now was to recruit some of the future powerhouses who were still obscure existences right now. However, the guild he established by himself did not possess a deep background or great fame. These experts were no fools. If Shifeng tried to recruit them, they might not even consider the option before rejecting him. Hence, the foremost thing Shifeng needed to do was to establish a guild with a strong background and limitless potential. Only by doing so could he attract those nameless experts. Chapter 220 Tier 4 Magic Scroll. Chapter 220 Tier 4 Magic Scroll. First floor reception hall of Starstreak Trading Firm. The Starstreak Trading Firm's store was different from normal stores. As it specialized in big businesses across cities, it had its own specialized reception room set up in the building. At the same time, there was also a sales area located on the first floor of the building. The sales area sold various merchandise such as clothing, weapons, equipment, potions, alchemy products, magic scrolls, and much more. This place was just like a supermarket in reality. A trading firm was different from the auction house. As the auction house charged players exorbitant processing fees, the items sold there were far more expensive than the items sold in normal stores. Earning money in God's domain was no simple task. Hence, rather selling their wares at the auction houses, losing 15% of their profits in the process, a large majority of the players in God's domain would prefer to spend more time selling their wares at trading companies or stores. Esteemed sir, how may I assist you? The beautiful and dignified young lady at the receptionist counter smiled at Shifeng. I wish to meet President Henry. Please tell President Henry that Lady Charlene sent me to speak with him, Shifeng said. Please wait for a moment. I will notify the president immediately. The receptionist immediately took out a multicolored communication crystal, transferring Shifeng's information through the crystal. After several minutes, Mr. Yifeng, the president is waiting for you in the president's office on the 3rd floor. Thank you. Immediately, Shifeng walked towards the spiral staircase in the distance. When he arrived before the president's office on the 3rd floor, he met 2 level 150 guards who stood by the office's door. Average players were absolutely not allowed to enter the president's office. In the past, countless guild executives had queued up in front of this office. They had wished to meet with President Henry to discuss matters of renting out the 1st floor of Starstreak trading firm's store for business. Unfortunately, they did not manage to catch even the shadow of President Henry. However, when Shifeng walked up to the office, the 2 ferocious-looking guards immediately parted the sturdy, mahogany doors for him. Inside the luxurious and spacious office, a man in his 50s sat on a sofa in the middle of the room. The man had an elegant and dignified appearance. This person was indeed President Henry of Starstreak trading firm, and he was a well-known financial magnate in White River City. Your Excellency Yifeng, please sit, President Henry said when his eyes met Shifeng's, his finger pointing to the beast-skin sofa before him. President Henry, this is the contract that Miss Charlene wanted me to bring to you. Shifeng sat down. He retrieved the contract from his bag, handing it over for Henry's inspection. No need. Before you arrived, Her Highness Charlene had already notified me of your coming here. I've also learned some information about you from Her Highness Charlene. The young truly are promising, Henry praised. He then said, Since you are here now, I feel reassured. Reassured? What are you reassured about? Shifeng had a bewildered look on his face. Just what was President Henry saying? Also, just what did Charlene tell Henry? Oh? Did Her Highness Charlene not tell Your Excellency about it? Confused, Henry said. This contract was set between me and Her Highness Charlene. As long as Her Highness can save the Starstreak trading firm from its current predicament, she will obtain 20% of Starstreak trading firm's shares and the Tier 4 magic scroll that was obtained from the ancient ruins. You say 20% of the company's shares and a Tier 4 magic scroll? Shifeng's expression froze. Charlene was simply ruthless. Charlene had sent him to deal with the predicament, yet she would receive a Tier 4 magic scroll in addition to 20% of the company's shares? That's right. I've already mentioned this to Her Highness. As long as Your Excellency can save us from this predicament, that Tier 4 magic scroll will belong to Your Excellency, Henry said, nodding his head. May I know what kind of magic scroll it is? Shifeng was incredibly curious about the Tier 4 magic scroll. In the past, the most powerful magic scroll Shifeng had seen was only a Tier 4. If he sold the scroll, the minimum price for it would be 500 gold coins. If it were an amazing Tier 4 magic scroll, he could even sell it for over 1,000 gold coins. However, players who obtained a Tier 4 magic scroll were not usually willing to sell it. It is a Tier 4 position teleportation scroll. With it, one can teleport to anywhere they wished within an instant. However, this scroll was made using the technology of an ancient civilization. In our current era, we have no way of replicating such technology. Hence, this scroll is the only one that currently exists in Star Moon Kingdom. It is priceless, Henry said pridefully. This scroll was his most precious treasure. He had always been reluctant to part with it. If it were not for the trading firm facing a great predicament, he would never willingly offer this Tier 4 magic scroll as a remuneration. Hearing Henry saying so, Shifeng came to a realization. If he had the Tier 4 position teleportation scroll, he could teleport directly to the Dark Denver. He would not even have to waste time searching for its exact location. It was no wonder Charlene was so confident in her information. President Henry, I wonder what sort of predicament your trading firm wishes me to solve? Shifeng asked. To be honest, bandits have snatched one of our shipments carrying precious merchandise, costing the trading firm massively. To make up for the loss, our trading firm had to pay a large sum of money as compensation, which in turn resulted in our trading firm facing its current crisis. So I hope that Your Excellency can help us resolve this predicament. Otherwise, if this problem drags on for another month, our trading firm will have to declare bankruptcy," Henry unhurriedly explained. "Then, President Henry, are you telling me to get rid of those bandits and retrieve your stolen merchandise? It would be best if that is possible." "Then, which band of bandits stole your merchandise?" "The Black Scorpion Corps of Black Cloud Ridge, led by Black Scorpion himself. He is a level 180 Tier 3 Shadow Warrior. If you can get rid of him and retrieve our merchandise, I would greatly appreciate it." Hearing the words, "Tier 3 Shadow Warrior," Shifeng nearly fell off of his seat. Was President Henry telling him to deal with a Tier 3 NPC? Only players who did not know how to write the word death would accept this request. Not to mention a month, Shifeng would still fail this task even if he had 2 years to complete it. This had to be a joke. Shifeng had originally thought that the epic quest's difficulty had been reduced. Rather, wasn't this the exact opposite? Noticing Shifeng's troubled expression, Henry once more unhurriedly said, "If Your Excellency feels that this request is too difficult, there is a second option. It is also for this reason that Her Highness Charlene sent Your Excellency here." Shifeng slightly recovered from his shock as he heard that there was a second option. "In reality, our trading firm also feels that it is impossible to retrieve the merchandise. The only possibility for Starstreak trading firm to get through this predicament is for us to collect 30,000 gold coins within a month. Her Highness Charlene has always praised Your Excellency as a business prodigy. If Your Excellency manages our Starstreak trading firm, I believe that we can achieve that goal." Seeing Henry's anticipating gaze, Shifeng only wanted to curse. Just because he managed to earn a few coins, he was suddenly a business prodigy. What kind of sick joke was this? Earning 30,000 gold in a month! Moreover, he didn't actually have 30 days at all. Considering the time when the Great Demon would appear, Shifeng would, at most, have 20 days to earn 30,000 gold coins. Even if he currently earned 100 gold or so per day, 10 days would only net him 1,000 gold, while 30 days would only net him at 3,000 gold. That was only 1/10 of the required amount. Players were still stuck in the initial stages of God's domain right now, so it was impossible for anyone to make that much money. If one added a week's earnings of every player in the White River City region together, it might equal 30,000 gold. How was he supposed to earn that sort of money? He might as well become a bandit and snatch the money from someone else. No, that's not right. Even if he tried to steal it, there was no way he could get that much money. Before Shifeng could reject the quest, a system notification popped up before him. System: Epic Quest Phase 2 Gospel Project accepted. Quest content: You have become the manager of Starstreak Trading Firm. Earn 30,000 gold coins within a month and resolve Starstreak Trading Firm's predicament. Rewards unknown. Chapter 221 Astonishing Decision. Chapter 221 Astonishing Decision. It's not even going to give me a choice? Shifeng laughed bitterly as he looked at the system notification. Shifeng did not even have the right to reject an epic quest. Shifeng was truly confused as to how Fantasy Extinguisher had actually managed to complete this epic quest. In theory, he shouldn't be able to complete the quest even if he sacrificed the entire Fantasy Shrine. When converted to credits, 30,000 gold coins was the equivalent of 300 million credits. One could even buy a large company with that kind of money. Moreover, compared to the difficulty of earning 300 million credits, in reality, it was much harder to earn 30,000 gold in God's domain. Naturally, it was impossible for Shifeng to earn 300 million credits in reality right now. To speak frankly, if he were capable of such a thing, he would have long since done so. Why bother playing God's domain at all? However, it would still be better for him to develop himself in God's domain, as God's domain had more prospects. earning credits in God's domain would be much faster than earning credits in reality. Your Excellency Yifeng, from now on, the entire Starstreak trading firm will be under your command. We will carry out any orders you give. Also, I would like to introduce you to someone. If Your Excellency needs anything, simply let her know, Henry said, clapping his hands once. At this moment, the large doors of the office suddenly opened, and a beautiful girl with golden blonde hair stepped into the office. The girl with blue eyes wore a beautiful purple dress. The edges of her dress brushed against the red-carpeted floor. The girl had a fair and pretty face, and her long wavy hair, which reached her buttocks, fluttered in the wind as she moved. Her bangs covered her sea blue left eye, while her uncovered right eye looked just like a shiny, blue gemstone. As she walked closer to Shifeng and President Henry, her thin red lips formed a tranquil, yet attractive smile. Anna, from today onwards, His Excellency Yifeng will be the acting president of Starstreak Trading Firm, while you will be His Excellency's assistant. You must properly assist His Excellency, understood? Henry asked. Yes, President. I will not disappoint His Excellency Yifeng. Following which, Henry sent a beaming smile at Shifeng as he said, Your Excellency Yifeng, from today onwards, the Starstreak Trading Firm's fate will be in your hands. Anna is very familiar with the Starstreak Trading Firm, and she is also very intelligent and capable. If you have any commands, please don't hesitate to let her carry them out. System. Player has activated the NPC administration system. Please call out the NPC administration interface to manage your subordinated NPCs. Seeing Henry's smile, in addition to Anna's attractive appearance, Shifeng was slightly stunned. He could almost feel cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Henry obviously worried that Shifeng would not give it his all in helping them. Thus, Henry had given Shifeng this benefit. Fine. Leave the matter of Starstreak Trading Firm to me, then. Shifeng laughed bitterly. He never imagined that he could obtain a beautiful assistant in God's domain. Not even a guild leader would enjoy such treatment. Also, Shifeng felt relieved at the fact that he was not required to give 30,000 gold to Starstreak Trading Firm. Instead, he only needed to help the trading firm make 30,000 gold. Without a doubt, the difficulty of the quest had greatly reduced. Immediately, Shifeng called out the system interface, investigating the NPC administration interface. Anna, Yifeng's assistant. Gender female. Age 20. Loyalty 50. Charm 86. Physique 60. Wisdom 91. Level 50. HP 10,000. Her wisdom is so high. Shifeng was shocked when he saw the information displayed. In God's domain, wisdom determined an NPC's potential. Normally, NPCs would not have wisdom exceeding 50 points. If an NPC's wisdom reached 60 points, they would possess extraordinary statuses in God's domain. Meanwhile, those with 70 points in wisdom were usually Tier 2 mages. As for NPCs who had 90 points in wisdom, they were usually characters such as Charlene, a Tier 3 divine official. However, Anna was far more amazing than Charlene. Charlene had a Tier 3 class, so her attributes would have been increased, resulting in her wisdom reaching 90 points. However, Anna did not possess any class right now. If Anna obtained a Tier 3 class, her wisdom would exceed 100 points. Although it was only a difference of 10 points, wisdom increased slower as it reached higher numbers. Similarly, the difference between a single point in wisdom would also become greater. An NPC with 100 points in wisdom was the equivalent to Magistrate Weissman of White River City, an Apex Tier 4 wizard. With such a powerful subordinate, Shifeng's mood improved greatly. Although 30,000 gold was a huge sum of money, if Shifeng earned it through the Starstreak Trading Firm, he would still have a thread of hope of succeeding. Since he was already capable of earning 100 gold per day by himself, if he utilized Starstreak Trading Firm's influence, he had a very high possibility of earning the 30,000 gold coins. After all, Starstreak Trading Firm had shops based in 8 cities, and every one of them was in the heart of the trade areas of each respective city. Meanwhile, the total population of these 8 cities exceeded 5 million players. With such a large player base, it would be very easy for Surfong to make money. Thinking up to this point, a flash of inspiration struck Surfong. All this time, he thought of opening a shop in White River City. Only, he did not possess the sufficient reputation or money to do so. After all, not to mention purchasing a shop located within the trade area, even the cheapest shop in White River City required players to have 500 White River City reputation points in addition to 1,000 to 5,000 gold coins. Although the price looked high, in reality, it was not as expensive as one would imagine. After all, the hardest part of purchasing a shop was the required 500 reputation points. By the time players obtained 500 White River City reputation points, a lot of time would have passed, and they would have long since collected the necessary coins to purchase a shop. Moreover, the coins at that time would not be as valuable as right now. At that time, one gold coin would at most be worth around 200 credits, unlike the current situation where one silver coin could sell for more than 100 credits. By becoming the acting president of the Starstreak Trading Company, Surfong had essentially obtained the most valuable shops in 8 different cities. What did this situation hint at? Nobody had a better understanding of this situation than Surfong. Shortly after, under Anna's lead, Surfong left the president's office to tour the Starstreak trading firm. In truth, however, even without exploring the place, Surfong already had a thorough understanding of the Starstreak trading firm. NPCs were different from players in that they could only sell common goods. Even the equipment they sold was common rank, and very rarely would there be a bronze-ranked item for sale. However, it would be a different story altogether if the store were run by a player. On top of everything else, Surfong was also the officially acknowledged chief forger of Star Moon Kingdom. Just as Anna guided Surfong around the Starstreak trading firm, a few players who came to purchase some necessities such as food, water, scrolls, and potions were immediately dumbstruck when they noticed the duo. "That NPC is beautiful! Just who is that player? Isn't he too good at getting the ladies? He has even managed to land an NPC sister. This won't do. I need to convince him to teach me." The scene of Surfong and Anna walking together immediately attracted the attention of plenty of players. In reality, such attention wasn't just due to Anna's beauty. It was also due to the fact that Surfong had managed to get together with a female NPC. Such a feat was far more stunning than just getting together with a beautiful female player. Countless male players glowered at Surfong in envy. Meanwhile, this information spread throughout the forums like a storm, especially the footage of Surfong and Anna strolling through the sales area. This footage became a sensation among players, and it allowed them to gain a new perspective on God's domain. Fortunately, Surfong had not used his true appearance at that time. Instead, he wore the identity of Black Flame. This should be enough. Surfong looked at the surrounding onlookers as he revealed a faint smile. The reason he had asked Anna to come out for a stroll was precisely to attract attention. He then spoke to Anna. "I've decided to change the Starstreak trading firm's business model. I wonder if that would be all right?" Anna's eyes suddenly widened in surprise. She looked at Surfong with a confused expression as she thought, he has just taken the position as the acting president, yet he is already taking such a bold and decisive action. Is this person really a business prodigy? However, Surfong was her boss. Moreover, President Henry had already instructed her to listen to Surfong. Hence, she nodded her head, saying, "If Your Excellency wishes to change the business models, I wonder what Your Excellency needs me to do?" "Very simple. I wish to hire adventurers to craft items for me, then sell the items they have crafted. So I need you to get someone to refurbish the 8 shops we own. The first and second floors of the building will be used to sell our wares, while the 4th to 6th floors will be rebuilt as a workspace. Also, get the news out that we are hiring lifestyle players. Whether they are just normal people or adventurers, as long as they reach our standards, we will offer them 30% more than what others are offering." Listening up to this point, Anna grew shocked. This wasn't just a change in the business models, this was practically a change of occupation. Chapter 222 Trump Card. Chapter 222 Trump Card. Immediately after Surfong gave his command, Anna started making the necessary preparations. Compared to a normal NPC, Anna was simply too smart. In just a short amount of time, she had already finished carrying out Shifeng's request. During the time Shifeng brainstormed on how he was going to utilize the Starstreak trading firm to earn 30,000 gold, the entire Starstreak trading firm had also started its renovation. Following Shifeng's request, the first and second floors were outfitted with sales counters. The first floor sold only the commonly used items, while the second floor would sell exquisite and precious items. Meanwhile, the fourth to sixth floors were refurbished into workshops for lifestyle players. Out of those 3 floors, the fourth floor consisted of solely forging rooms, while the fifth floor consisted of potion-making rooms. The sixth floor consisted of workshops for the remaining classes and a warehouse meant for the use of both NPCs and players. Meanwhile, the Starstreak trading firm's renovation had attracted the attention of many players. Due to the footage of Shifeng and Anna from before, plenty of players had arrived at the trading firm to take a look out of curiosity. Yet, by the time they arrived, they discovered that the Starstreak trading firm was actually undergoing renovations. This situation made all the players grow even more curious. Just what was going on here? Your Excellency Foam, the matter you requested has been completed. Does Your Excellency have any other instructions? Anna spoke gently as she walked up to Shifeng, a tranquil smile on her face. Good. How many people did you manage to recruit? Shifeng asked. From the 8 cities, we've recruited 245 potion makers. Among them, 209 are basic potion makers, 29 are intermediate potion makers, and 7 are advanced potion makers. In addition, we also recruited 228 forgers. Among them, 188 are basic forgers, 31 are intermediate forgers, and 9 are advanced forgers. Anna took out a name list and placed it on the table. That's quite a lot. Shifeng was very satisfied as he looked at the number of NPCs on the list. If a first-rate guild's upper management saw such numbers, they would surely be shocked beyond recovery. After all, these were all genuine potion makers and forgers. They were not apprentices. With such a frightening force, one could instantly turn a third-rate guild into a super guild. This was the amazing aspect of the Starstreak trading firm. If it were a player-established store, they could not recruit nearly this many high-level NPCs. The best NPCs they could recruit would only be apprentices. On the other hand, the Starstreak trading firm had easily recruited this many potion makers and forgers. These NPCs were far more capable than player apprentices. The only downside was their slightly lower efficiency, slow improvements, and much lower growth potential. Your Excellency, I feel that it isn't very appropriate to offer such a high salary. Since we are hiring so many people, we will also have to provide an equally large number of materials. We will take a huge loss through this transaction. If we continue down such a path, not to mention a month, the Starstreak trading firm will go bankrupt within 10 days, Anna said worriedly. In order to hire all these people, the Starstreak trading firm had offered 30% more than the market price. The trading firm also had to bear the failures of these crafters. This was simply madness. Moreover, whether it was potions or equipment, either could earn them a lot of money. The sales of these items were similarly average. Only those master-level characters would earn a lot of money from their craft. Right now, they were simply taking a loss by recruiting so many people. Anna truly could not understand why Shifeng would invite all these people to work here. Wouldn't it be better to purchase the finished products from these crafters? That way, their trading firm would not have to suffer any losses. Unfortunately, Anna had no idea just how important these potion makers and forgers were to the current players of God's domain. You don't need to bother with this. The remaining thing we need is to convince the basic potion makers to continuously make the basic recovery potions and basic mana regeneration potions that they are adept at making. As for the intermediate and advanced potion makers, get them to make intermediate recovery potions and intermediate mana regeneration potions. For the forgers, get all of them to make only whetstones, Shifeng said with a smile. There were plenty of NPC potion makers and forgers in God's domain. Meanwhile, Only players with their own shops had the right to hire these NPCs. Otherwise, even when players provided the materials, these NPCs would refuse to make anything for these players. However, there was a downside to getting these NPCs to make items. Simply put, they were slow. The number of items they could craft within a day was fixed. As for the advantage, NPCs had a much higher success rate, so they did not waste as many materials as players did. Meanwhile, during the later stages of God's domain, as player-made items grew in abundance, the usefulness of these NPCs would similarly start to wane. Right now, however, these forgers and potion makers were of great use to Surpassing. It was especially true for the intermediate recovery potion and intermediate mana regeneration potion. These two items were very useful to players, as they could save their lives during a crucial moment. Although these two items were common products, and their respective recipes were also available for sale at the Potion Making Association, the players at this stage of the game were simply incapable of crafting them. Meanwhile, these two potions were only available for purchase from hidden NPCs, and only a limited amount was sold each day. They were items that a majority of the players in God's domain had no chance of enjoying. If these NPC potion makers crafted these two potions, their success rate would be more than 70%. The materials needed to make an intermediate potion were only around 30 to 40 copper, yet, each completed bottle could sell for 5 to 6 silver coins. If Surpassing deducted the cost of hiring, he would still make a profit of 4 to 5 silver coins. So, why wouldn't he carry out this transaction? Players needed these items the most right now. If the Starstreak trading firms sold these items, they would make a killing. There were also the whetstones. This was an item that all players lacked. Currently, each stack of hard stones sold for 13 silver coins, while a stack of whetstones sold for 40 silver coins. When comparing the success rate of forging apprentices and an official forger, how could the former even hope to win over the latter? The only problem was materials. As the Starstreak trading firm had previously only purchased finished products from forgers and potion makers, they did not have any materials of their own stored up. Now, they needed to provide the materials for these crafters. Although the trading firm could purchase the more common materials at low prices, Surpassing needed to be the one to gather the materials required to make intermediate recovery potions, intermediate mana regeneration potions, and whetstones. However, Surpassing was not afraid of this. The herbs needed to make the intermediate recovery potion and intermediate mana regeneration potion were not very expensive. After all, these herbs were utterly useless to players right now. The players in God's domain at the moment were still apprentice potion makers. Crafting basic recovery potions was already impressive. Why would they bother wasting materials to make unrewarding potions? As a result, the herbs required to craft intermediate recovery potions and intermediate mana regeneration potions were very cheap. As for hard stones, Surpassing wasn't worried. After all, he still had a humongous stock in his warehouse. He had enough for these NPC forgers for a long time. Moreover, he could also continue purchasing them from Aqua Rose. He would not lack hard stones at all. He would also sell these items in 8 different cities. With all of these advantages, it would be challenging not to make a profit. Moreover, Surpassing also revealed one of his trump cards. Advanced Whetstones. Advanced Whetstones were much stronger than a normal Whetstones. Not only did they recover twice the amount of a weapon's durability, but they could also increase the weapon's damage. Surpassing had already intended to sell each for 7 silver coins, and one stack would sell for 1 gold, 40 silvers. As long as he placed the advanced whetstones on the second floor, a majority of the players would fight over it, especially the large guilds. Oftentimes, just a 1% difference in damage could decide the victory or defeat of a boss raid. Meanwhile, the advanced whetstone provided a 3% increase to a weapon's damage. So, how could the various guilds, who were currently in a rush to raid dungeons, miss out on this item? They would definitely be in a mad rush to purchase them. Previously, Surpassing had kept all the advanced whetstones for his personal use. Later on, he passed some of them to his teammates, leaving him with 800 or so for himself. With this amount, the Starstreak trading firm should be able to last a relatively long time. However, Shifeng's plans were not limited to this. Now that he had such a large market available to him, he should fully utilize it, as he would not have a similar chance like this in the future. Hence, Shifeng thought up this plan. He intended to fully manipulate the Starstreak trading firm to help him set up his own shop in the future. Afterwards, Shifeng left the follow-up work to Anna, while he departed the Starstreak trading firm alone. Chapter 223 Popular Starstreak. Chapter 223 Popular Starstreak. Inside a hotel in White River City. Along with God's Domain's evolution, players understood the importance of rest. If they grinded monsters without rest, not only would their stamina decrease, but their concentration would also fall. Hence, after a day of battle, players would now rest at the hotel, having a drink and chatting with each other. Players discovered that places like restaurants, hotels, and bars allowed them to recover stamina and concentration more quickly. After relaxing for 2 or 3 hours, they would feel refreshed and filled with energy. Did you hear? The Starstreak trading firm seems to be undergoing renovations. I heard that they are going to release new products for sale. Who doesn't know about this? After I made some inquiries, I found out that the Starstreak trading firm has also recruited tons of potion makers and forgers. The trading firm is even hiring lifestyle players right now. However, no players have dared apply for a position yet, thinking that it wouldn't be a reliable job. I wonder what sort of new items they are going to sell. Aside from the common usage items, what else could an NPC-owned store sell? They can't possibly offer bronze equipment or rare potions, right? That sounds about right. While the players in the hotel conversed, a male player suddenly pushed open the saloon doors, panting. Big news! Starstreak trading firm has finished its renovations and has officially opened for business. The panting ranger exclaimed to his companions loudly. Why are you making a fuss? Aren't they just reopening their business? We don't lack basic potions or common equipment right now, so we don't need to replenish our stock. As the leader of the party, the shield warrior rolled his eyes as he watched this embarrassing companion of his. Others would make fun of them for the ranger's unsightly appearance. Indeed, just like the shield warrior had feared, the other players in the hotel sent belittling glances, mocking smiles on their faces. Leader, listen to me, that ranger excitedly said. I saw whetstones inside the shop. There are also intermediate recovery potions and intermediate mana regeneration potions. Moreover, the basic potions are cheaper than anywhere else. What did you say? There are whetstones. The shield warrior froze, stunned. The entire hotel fell silent. Let's go. Take us there immediately. We have to buy all of them, now. The shield warrior abruptly stood up, casting charge and arriving at the ranger's side. Grabbing the ranger by the arm, he immediately rushed out of the hotel, running towards the Starstreak trading firm. The other players inside the hotel were dumbfounded by this scene. What? Crap, they're going to buy out the whetstones. We need to hurry as well. After entering White River City, players' need for whetstones had not decreased in the slightest. On the contrary, their need had grown. It was especially true when they faced high-level monsters, as the durability of their weapons reduced at a much faster rate. As a result, the popularity of whetstones had exploded. The available supply was far from meeting the demand. By the time everyone had arrived at the Starstreak trading firm, a sea of people had already obliterated the shop's doors. Aside from whetstones, the players present also fought to purchase the intermediate recovery and mana regeneration potions like madmen. Meanwhile, this information had quickly spread to the ears of the various guilds. Guild leader, I've already collected a large sum from all our members, and we've managed to purchase 30 stacks of hard stones. This amount should be enough to last us a long time. Stabbing Heart spoke through the system communicator. Good. The moment the money-making team sends over the latest batch of gold coins, immediately return all the money we borrowed from our members, Cruel Sword excitedly said. Aside from the Assassins' Alliance, other guilds also frantically gathered funds. Snow, just what is happening at that Starstreak trading firm? Why would they suddenly start selling these items? Zhao Yueru wrinkled her crescent brows when she looked at the latest news that she had just received. She then said helplessly, "We've already spent a lot of money to purchase our previous stock of hard stones. We don't have any money to purchase any more right now. I've heard that the Starstreak trading firm is also selling limited edition advanced whetstones right now. Rumor has it the advanced whetstones effects are at least double that of normal whetstones. In addition, it also provides a 3% damage buff. Although it is slightly more expensive, costing 7 silver coins per piece, we would have a much easier time raiding the dungeon bosses with them." Gentle Snow shook her head, a helpless expression appearing on her beautiful face as she said, "Under normal circumstances, NPCs would never sell these items. However, there is something strange going on. A player has created a connection with the Starstreak trading firm. I'm just wondering who could possibly achieve such a feat also, who would possess enough funding to supply so many whetstones and intermediate potions. This is simply unbelievable. Send someone to investigate this matter immediately." Recently, she had managed to raise 20 gold coins and had purchased hard stones with that money. Yet, the Starstreak trading firm now sold whetstones. She had not received any information before this incident, causing her to suffer disaster. Currently, the issue of weapon durability had caused a roadblock in their dungeon raiding progress. Everything would be too late by the time their guild's forgers managed to turn those hard stones into whetstones. Other guilds would have long since surpassed them. They needed to obtain the whetstones right this instant, especially the advanced whetstones. Meanwhile, inside an intermediate forging room in the Forging Association, Shifeng currently crafted advanced whetstones. He did so to increase his forging proficiency and earn money. The present market was not the same as before. With the Starstreak trading firm around, he could now sell the advanced whetstones he made in 8 cities. Although the advanced whetstones were somewhat expensive, players from the 8 cities would still buy them. Even if Shifeng forged advanced whetstones 24 hours a day, he still wouldn't meet the demand of the 8 cities. Currently, gold coins poured into the Starstreak trading firm's accounts with every passing moment. Shifeng did not even dare open the money system notification. Only 1 short hour had passed since Starstreak trading firm reopened, yet, already, it had earned over 300 gold coins. However, this was only the beginning. Things would become more exciting later on. Aside from making money, Shifeng's goal in making advanced whetstones was to upgrade himself to an advanced forging apprentice. If he became an advanced forging apprentice, he could learn the advanced book of magic he had obtained from Stonemer Town. Previously, he only had White River City as the sole market for his wares. Now, however, he had 8 markets. He also did not need to foot any of the high processing fees, so he could not waste this chance. Shifeng intended to gain an impressive reputation and prestige among the 8 cities. However, the advanced whetstones alone were not enough to achieve this result. Moreover, advanced whetstones could not increase his reputation, as these things did not carry his personal mark. Only the Starstreak trading firm would gain reputation from these advanced whetstones. Most importantly, after everyone had a taste of the benefits of the advanced whetstones, they would fervently investigate how they could obtain the recipe. After all, the recipe for the advanced whetstone was not unique. Players could obtain them from multiple team dungeons. By the time Shifeng opened his own shop, he would no longer possess the advantage he had right now. Thus, he needed to become an advanced forging apprentice and learn the advanced book of magic, creating the one and only mana armor kit. Once he thoroughly spread the Black Flame Forger's reputation with the mana armor kits that only he could create, tons of players would search him out. Chapter 224 Runic Gold. Chapter 224 Runic Gold. In the quiet and steamy forging room, a deep blue flame burned brilliantly as it refined one hard stone after the next. Originally, forging advanced whetstones had a low success rate. Yet, when Shifeng made them, the process was as smooth as flowing water. Whether regarding production speed or quality, both were equally amazing, and one couldn't help but give praise when witnessing this scene. Although the repetitive task was slightly cumbersome, when Shifeng's thoughts wandered to the fact that each advanced whetstone could sell for 7 silver coins, endless motivation flowed into him. After 3 hours had passed since Shifeng started this laborious work, he had made 180 advanced whetstones. His speed could practically rival the efficiency of 3 or 4 forgers combined. Also, without noticing it, Shifeng had also recovered his previously lost level, returning from level 14 to level 15. His current leveling speed was far more efficient than grinding normal monsters. Having decided to take a short rest, Shifeng examined his current forging proficiency. It was already at 1,253 points right now. He needed 3,000 proficiency points to be promoted from an intermediate forging apprentice to an advanced forging apprentice. As long as he continued to work hard for 2 or 3 more days, he could become an advanced forging apprentice. If other players knew of Shifeng's promotion speed, they might become stupefied. After all, throughout the entire White River City region, aside from Shifeng, there was not a single intermediate forging apprentice to be found. Shifeng's forging promotion speed was monstrously fast. Based on this speed, if I focus solely on forging, I can become an advanced forging apprentice in 2 days, just in time for the next transaction with Aqua Rose. I can rake in another large sum of money from Aqua Rose. Shifeng made a rough estimation, growing excited. He greatly profited every time he met with Aqua Rose. If he could make another large sum this time, he would have mostly dealt with the matter of setting up his workshop. Later on, he only needed to think of a way to recruit a large number of players that could serve as the backbone of the guild in the future. If he wished to establish a guild with tens of thousands of members, he needed at least several hundred players to serve as the backbone of the guild. Otherwise, he could not manage so many players properly. Hence, Shifeng had decisively bought the office building to establish his workshop. It would save him the trouble of having to move to a new workshop in the future, limiting such issues related to the guild's development. HM? Gentle Snow? When Shifeng heard the ringtone for his communicator, he discovered the caller was Gentle Snow. However, she was not looking for Yifeng, but Black Flame instead. It just so happened that Shifeng had reasons to look for Gentle Snow as well. Previously, he had intended to use the idea of Black Flame to establish the lifestyle guild, the Horizon Alliance. However, he never found the chance to do so. Now, a chance had arrived. Currently, he was temporarily in charge of the Starstreak trading firm, which possessed shops in 8 different cities. Moreover, these shops were all located in the heart of each city. Regarding materials, workplace, or a place to sell items, Shifeng now had everything a lifestyle player would need in his possession. If he factored in Gentle Snow's advertising, establishing the Horizon Alliance was practically a done deal. If Horizon Alliance successfully developed, it would be worth a gold mine. He could obtain both funding and materials through this lifestyle guild. At that time, Shifeng would not have to worry about Zero Wing's development. Black Flame, are you interested in making a deal? Gentle Snow immediately asked without any greeting. A deal? I wonder what sort of deal Miss Snow wishes to make? Shifeng asked, curious. I know that you are related to the matter of the Starstreak trading firm, so I wish to purchase some whetstones from you, especially the advanced whetstones. I'll pay credits, and I'll buy as many as you have right now, Gentle Snow said. So, you desire the whetstones. This should be simple. However, I need gold coins far more than credits right now. If Miss Snow has a lot of them, I can definitely sell you my entire stock. Shifeng did not refute Gentle Snow's claim. After all, it was not strange that she had discovered his relation to the Starstreak trading firm. Previously, he had used the appearance of Black Flame to stroll through the trading firm with Anna openly. Moreover, many players had recorded a video of that scene. Since Gentle Snow had seen Black Flame before, she could easily figure out the relationship between him and the Starstreak trading firm as long as she saw one of those videos. I'll pay you 3 times of the market price via credits. Gentle Snow did not want the other guilds to catch up to them. Hence, she did not mind spending some extra credits. Miss Snow, there is no need to continue. You and I both know how important gold coins are right now. If you do not have the sincerity to conduct this trade, let us just forget it altogether. I am sincere about this deal. However, I've recently purchased a large batch of hard stones, so I don't have any excess gold coins at the moment. How about 5 times the market price? Gentle Snow felt helpless right now. Black Flame certainly had a powerful backer supporting him, so he might not value credits as much as gold coins. However, she truly had nothing she could use to trade. She only had credits. Let's just forget about the credits. Don't you have a lot of hard stones right now? Shifeng revealed a faint, bitter smile. If he were not required to earn 30,000 gold coins within 20 days, he would have definitely agreed to 5 times the market price. However, gold coins were much more important to him right now. This matter affected his own future development, so he could not compromise. Hence, he suggested, let's exchange using hard stones then. Exchange? Gentle Snow's beautiful face froze. Stunned, she asked, what will the ratio of exchange be? That will depend on you. For the normal whetstones, it will be a 1-to-4 ratio. As for the advanced whetstones, I require a 1-to-9 ratio. Shifeng stated calmly. Fine. However, I want only advanced whetstones. Moreover, I want to conduct the trade immediately. After giving the matter some thought, Gentle Snow felt that this exchange seemed reasonable. However, Gentle Snow inwardly cursed at Shifeng for being too hateful. It is as expected of the chief forger of Starmoon Kingdom. If she allowed the forgers in her guild to make whetstones right now, they could produce 1 whetstone with every 4 or 5 hard stones. Meanwhile, Shifeng had accurately suggested trading 1 whetstone for 4 hard stones. The result of this exchange was just slightly better than the result the forgers in her guild could produce. So, Gentle Snow agreed to trade the majority of their stock of hard stones for advanced whetstones, leaving the remainder for the forgers in her guild to increase their forging proficiency. Alright then. Look for an NPC named Anna once you arrive at the Starstreak trading firm. She will conduct the exchange immediately. Shifeng instructed, chuckling. Soon after, Shifeng disconnected the call, resuming his production of advanced whetstones. Shifeng's trade with Gentle Snow was only a small interlude. After Gentle Snow had exchanged 4 stacks of advanced whetstones with Anna, under Shifeng's instructions, Anna made the exchange mechanism open to the public. The exchange ratio was the same as he previously mentioned to Gentle Snow. As a result, many players who lacked the money to purchase whetstones started frantically exchanging their hard stones. They no longer needed forging apprentices to rip them off. With this, not only could the Starstreak trading firm deal with its material supply issue, but it could also make a profit from this exchange. This scene caused many lifestyle players to have second thoughts about applying to work at the trading firm. 2 days later. System, congratulations. You are the first player to be promoted to an advanced forging apprentice. Obtain 200,000 EXP, rewarding 5 runic gold. Finally. Still, the system is really generous this time, to think it would even give me a rare item like runic gold. Shifeng involuntarily smiled when he saw the system rewards. Runic gold could increase the forging success rate of an item by 10%. Simultaneously, it would have a chance to upgrade the rank of the forged item by 1. Unlike runic steel, which could only upgrade an item's quality to a maximum of fine gold rank, runic gold could increase an item's quality up to dark gold rank. However, Shifeng's joy focused on the promotion to an advanced forging apprentice. Ever since his forging proficiency had reached 2,000 points, the advanced whetstones no longer rewarded 1 proficiency point 100% of the time. They only had a 70% chance to reward a proficiency point. Meanwhile, after he reached 2,500 points, there was only a 40% chance of obtaining 1 proficiency point, while at 2,800 points, that chance further decreased to 20%. After spending 2 days forging away, he finally managed to earn the promotion to an advanced forging apprentice. After becoming an advanced forging apprentice, Shifeng immediately retrieved the advanced book of magic from his bag, choosing to learn it without hesitation. Suddenly, a golden glow surrounded Shifeng's body, and within Shifeng's mind, the knowledge of producing the magic armor kit appeared. During these 2 days, aside from continuously producing advanced whetstones and raising his forging proficiency, Shifeng had also made sure to train his body during the day. Incidentally, he also bought that office building in the city center for his workshop. Shifeng had to pay a total of 60 million credits in installments. He first paid 20 million credits, while he would pay the remaining 40 million in full within 3 months. Shifeng had also earned over 10 million credits from selling the White River City guidebooks. He used 5 million or so to purchase various gaming facilities and other items to complete his workshop. That way, when it was time to attend the university's fellowship party, he would have 5 million credits and a luxurious workshop to back him up. He was no weaker than Shadow right now. Comparing workshop facilities and environments, Shifeng's workshop utterly destroyed Shadow's. Chapter 225 Mana Armor Kit. Chapter 225 Mana Armor Kit. While Shifeng had been stuck in the forging room for the past 2 days, many of the players that had just entered the city were amazed by the scene they witnessed. They never imagined that such benefits would be available in the city. Whetstones were no longer items solely monopolized by guilds. They could be purchased at the Starstreak trading firm along with the rare intermediate recovery and mana potions. Compared to other shops in White River City, the Starstreak trading firm's stock was far more thorough. Most importantly, the Starstreak trading firm was the only location that sold advanced whetstones. This item had become the Starstreak trading firm's signature item and was only sold in limited numbers every day. With such an advantage, the Starstreak trading firm instantly obtained a strong foothold in the 8 cities it occupied, suppressing the other shops. During these 2 days, players no longer visited other shops to purchase their items, as they could simply purchase everything they needed at the Starstreak trading firm. As a result, business boomed for the trading firm. Meanwhile, a huge incident also happened in White River City, and even Shifeng, who was extremely knowledgeable about God's domain, was shocked. 10 guilds had suddenly grouped, forming an entirely new, single guild. This matter sent shockwaves throughout the entire White River City region. Many of the second-rate and third-rate guilds started panicking at this news. They all increased the treatment they offered to their members and continuously tried to recruit new members into their guilds. Simultaneously, they also increased their speed of annexing smaller guilds. As for the unrated guilds, they started to form alliances to resist the annexation of these second-rate and third-rate guilds for self-preservation. White River City, which originally had hundreds of guilds contending with each other for supremacy, suddenly entered a new phase where only a handful of powers contended with each other. In reality, a dozen or so unrated guilds coming together to form one large guild would not greatly affect these second-rate and third-rate guilds. The main reason this merger frightened these powerful guilds was the guild at its core. It was none other than the top-tier, third-rate guild, Dark Star. Furthermore, Dark Star had a new guild leader. Lone Tyrant had suddenly become Dark Star's new guild leader, while the previous guild leader had been chased out of his own guild. Originally, Dark Star already had Lone Tyrant, who was ranked first on the ranking list. They also managed to obtain the first clear of several hard-mode team dungeons. Previously, they had even competed against the Assassins' Alliance over supremacy in White River City. However, due to lacking a powerful background, they could not grow any stronger within a short time. Now that Lone Tyrant had become the guild leader, not only had Dark Star annexed a large number of guilds, but they had also managed to recruit quite a few hidden experts. Just a short time after the merger, Dark Star had obtained the first clear of 2 hard-mode team dungeons, and one of them was even the first clear of a 20-man hard-mode team dungeon. As a result, Dark Star's fame soared once again. They were no longer beneath the Assassins' Alliance. They might have already surpassed the Assassins' Alliance. Currently, Dark Star's influence in White River City could rival that of a first-rate guild. They had become one of the tyrants of White River City. On another note, for reasons unknown, the first thing Lone Tyrant did after he unified those unrated guilds was place a bounty on Shifeng's head. Moreover, the bounty he set was rather generous. As long as someone could kill Surpassing to level 0, he would immediately reward the person responsible with 5 million credits and an elder position in Dark Star. Meanwhile, any player who killed Surpassing once could receive a reward of 200,000 credits. In a virtual reality game, such a high bounty was mind-blowing. Right now, major corporations in the real world were only offering an annual salary of 5 million credits, or so when recruiting well-known top-tier experts. On the other hand, Surpassing was not even a great character from a first-rate guild. Such a high bounty on an unknown player was a first in the world of virtual reality. Even though they did not know what sort of enmity Lone Tyrant had with Surpassing, many players had expressed their sympathies for Surpassing. Meanwhile, Lone Tyrant's tyrannic actions had undeniably garnered the attention of many independent players, compelling them to join Dark Star to develop themselves further. However, from Surpassing's point of view, Lone Tyrant was simply a lunatic. He had snatched away only one first clear away from Lone Tyrant. Was there really a need to be so unforgiving? Moreover, Surpassing was really confused as to when Dark Star had become such an amazing existence. They had actually managed to annex more than 10 unrated guilds within such a short amount of time. One should know that each guild would have at least 1,000 to 2,000 members. In the case of a larger guild, there might be even 5,000 to 6,000 members. Yet, Dark Star had actually devoured and incorporated them in a single go with room to spare. Even the Assassin's Alliance did not possess a background strong enough to carry out such a feat. Although Dark Star was very powerful right now, Surpassing considered the bounty on his head no more than a joke. If Surpassing were only a normal expert, he might have trembled in fear as he could not continue mingling in White River City. However, was Surpassing a normal expert? No, he wasn't. In a situation where everyone else had yet to familiarize themselves with God's domain fully, Surpassing already had 10 years' worth of experience playing in God's domain as an expert swordsman. As of this moment, Lone Tyrant, the current first-ranked player on the ranking list, was only level 14. However, during the time Surpassing had spent cooped up inside an intermediate forging room producing advanced whetstones, he had already recovered to level 16. Surpassing was leaps ahead of Lone Tyrant regarding EXP they had. Moreover, with his current level and equipment, Surpassing had dared to face an absolute powerhouse head-on from his previous life. So, why would he possibly be afraid of Dark Star? This time, however, Surpassing could not use the same strategy he had with Martial Union within Red Leaf Town. There was nobody in White River City who dared provoke a tyrannic tiger like Dark Star. Moreover, Dark Star had too many members. Surpassing would go bankrupt if he placed a bounty on all its members. Not to mention, whether it was gold coins or credits, Surpassing was sorely in need of both right now. Hence, Surpassing chose to ignore Dark Star and instead focus on his own matters, producing mana armor kits. Compared to normal armor kits, mana armor kits were far more powerful. Aside from providing additional defense, normal armor kits only provided a small bonus to attributes. On the other hand, mana armor kits provided a significant bonus. Moreover, mana armor kits could be equipped on both plate and cloth armor. The materials needed to produce them were also very basic. No expensive or rare materials were necessary at all. Basic mana armor kit. Materials required: 10 copper ore, 3 bronze ore, 1 basic recovery potion or 1 basic mana regeneration potion. Can be crafted into either physical or magical basic armor kit. Bound to character after equipping. Basic physical armor kit. Defense plus 80. Strength plus 3, Endurance plus 4, Agility plus 3. Maximum binding limit per character, 3. Can only be bound to level 10 equipment, or above. Basic magical armor kit. Defense plus 30. Intelligence plus 3, Endurance plus 4, Vitality plus 3. Maximum binding limit per character, 3. Can only be bound to level 10 equipment, or above. Intermediate mana armor kit. Materials required: 15 iron ore, 5 fine iron ore, 1 intermediate recovery potion or 1 intermediate mana regeneration potion. Can be crafted into either physical or magical intermediate armor kit. Bound to character after equipping. Intermediate physical armor kit. Defense plus 200. Strength plus 10, endurance plus 12, agility plus 10. Maximum binding limit per character, 3. Can only be bound to level 25 equipment, or above. Intermediate magical armor kit. Defense plus 60. Intelligence plus 10, endurance plus 12, vitality plus 10. Maximum binding limit per character, 3. Can only be bound to level 25 equipment, or above. Advanced mana armor kit. Materials required, 20 silver ore, 8 mithril ore, 2 advanced recovery potion or 2 advanced mana regeneration potion. Can be crafted into either physical or magical advanced armor kit. Bound to character after equipping. Advanced physical armor kit. Defense plus 400. Strength plus 30, endurance plus 40, agility plus 30. Maximum binding limit per character, 3. Can only be bound to level 50 equipment, or above. Advanced magical armor kit. Defense plus 150. Intelligence plus 30, endurance plus 40, vitality plus 30. Maximum binding limit per character, 3. Can only be bound to level 50 equipment, or above. As long as a player bound 3 mana armor kits to their equipment, they would have the equivalent of an additional piece of precious equipment. Whether in a normal battle or dungeon raid, the mana armor kits would provide an immense improvement to a player. Who could resist such an enticing item? Chapter 226 Attracted by Fame. Chapter 226 Attracted by Fame. On a street located in the heart of the trade area, a man hiding himself under a hooded cloak hurriedly walked into the tall building, the Starstreak trading firm, by the roadside. Due to its raging popularity, there were plenty of players entering and leaving the Starstreak trading firm. Moreover, players who wore cloaks were common at the trading firm, so the hurried man did not attract the attention of other players. However, if one observed carefully, they would discover 2 exquisite long swords strapped to his back. Of the 2 swords, one released a faint glow that resembled a black flame, while the other released a green stream of light. One could easily tell that these 2 swords were extraordinary items. Moreover, the style of this man's equipment clearly indicated it was a set equipment, and a high-quality set equipment at that. This person was none other than Surpassing, currently disguised as Black Flame. Previously, after spending most of his day hiding in a forging room, Surpassing had forged a total of 600 basic mana armor kits. 400 of them were physical armor kits, while the remaining 200 were magic armor kits. A large amount of copper ore, bronze ore, intermediate recovery potions, and intermediate mana regeneration potions was required to make so many armor kits. Fortunately, Surpassing had these materials in spades. With the Philosopher's Stone, Surpassing could refine stones into ores. There was no need for him to purchase any at all. As for basic potions, he simply needed to spend some money to purchase a large stock of them. However, when compared to the value of the basic mana armor kits, the cost of these potions was practically negligible. Surpassing had even resolved the issue of production success rate, which was the most troublesome factor when producing the basic mana armor kits. For starters, as an advanced forging apprentice, Surpassing possessed a 20% success rate when forging the basic mana armor kits. After factoring in the book of forging and the various supporting tools he possessed, his success rate was further boosted to 66%. Although there was still the chance of failure, each try would only cost him 70 copper coins. With Surpassing's current wealth, he would not feel even an itch from losing such a meager amount of money. After arriving at the 3rd floor of the Starstreak trading firm, Surpassing quickly discovered a long line of people in the hallway. These people were currently queued up outside an office. A majority of these people consisted of NPCs, while the minority were players. "Hey, do you know what first come, first served means? You mannerless brute! You actually dare break the rules that Lady Anna has set. Bro, you sure have guts, huh? Aren't you afraid of Goddess Anna kicking you out?" Regardless if it were the NPCs or players queued up in the hallway, all of them sent fierce glares at Surpassing. However, their anger did not stem from their hatred of meeting Shifeng for the first time. Instead, they were afraid of Shifeng's rudeness earning the ire of Lady Anna. They had been painstakingly waiting to meet Lady Anna for a long time now. If Lady Anna chased all of them away in a fit of rage, it would be a tragedy. "What are you guys queuing for?" Shifeng asked curiously. Shifeng casually glanced at the people queued up in the hallway. Just from a rough estimate, there should be over 200 people present. This was in no way a small number. Moreover, looking at how all of these people referred to Anna as Lady Anna or Goddess Anna, with both admiration and respect, Shifeng couldn't help but grow astonished. "You dare come here without even knowing this?" Everyone immediately rolled their eyes at Shifeng. They looked at Shifeng as if he was a noob, their gazes filled with disdain. The Starstreak trading firm is currently hiring a large number of forgers and potion makers. If we're chosen and can work for Starstreak, we will enjoy a private workshop all to ourselves. Moreover, the trading firm will provide us with an endless supply of materials. If we perform well, the trading firm will even reward us with our very own private research room and provide us with all the materials we need to carry out our research. In other words, as long as we can become a forger or potion maker of Starstreak trading firm, both money and fame will be available for our picking. Speaking up to this point, everyone couldn't help but sigh incessantly. They felt great envy towards those who had already become forgers and potion makers of the Starstreak trading firm. However, when a female player suddenly walked out from the office with a disappointed look on her face, everyone's mood immediately dampened. Due to Starstreak growing more and more famous, the number of NPCs and players who wished to join the trading firm had also grown explosively. Hence, the test's difficulty had also been increased. It was no longer as easy as the trading firm's initial recruitment. How many consecutive eliminations have that been already? I think this should be the 7th. The test is becoming more and more challenging. Previously, 1 of every 5 applicants would succeed. Now only 1 out of 8 succeed. I wonder what the chances will be when it is my turn. The people queued near the back started growing anxious. Anna sure is strict. Shifeng revealed a bitter smile. Although having such strict selection criteria wasn't a problem, players were still fundamentally different from NPCs. Especially for players who were timid and introverted, it was a little extreme to reject them after undergoing only a single test. Cream Coco, the female player who had just walked out from Anna's office, was one such example. In the past, Cream Coco was a genius forger who had the title as one of the 10 great master forgers of Starmoon Kingdom, and Shifeng was fully intent of recruiting her into his guild in this life. He did not think that, shortly after Cream Coco had left the Assassin's Alliance, she would immediately come to Starstreak, only to be rejected once more. Fortunately, Shifeng had made a trip to Starstreak trading firm. Otherwise, he would similarly be shedding tears of regret with cruel sword. Ha! Another failure! Where am I supposed to head to now? At this moment Cream Coco wore a dejected expression. Previously, she had been chased out of the Assassin's Alliance due to her production success rate being overly low. Now Starstreak trading firm had also rejected her. After these consecutive failures, she no longer knew where she should head. Am I really not cut out for forging? Maybe I should go adventuring and fight like the other players. However, I am a sports idiot. How am I supposed to fight like the others? Hello? Are you here to apply for a job at Starstreak trading firm? Shifeng asked, blocking Cream Coco's path. Cream Coco nodded as she glanced at Shifeng. Currently, she did not have the mood at all to pay any attention to a stranger. Are you interested in taking another test? Shifeng asked with a smile. Shock flashed in Cream Coco's eyes. Immediately, she lifted her head and focused on Shifeng. For a moment, she had even thought that Shifeng was one of Starstreak's personnel. However, when she failed to find the Starstreak trading firm's emblem on Shifeng's clothing, she couldn't help but feel disappointed. Ha! Who do you think you are? Starstreak's president? Can you let someone, who has already been rejected, take the test again? If you wish to pretend, at least think of the time and place. Look at where you are at right now. At the very least, you should get a Starstreak emblem before putting up your act. A tall and beautiful cleric sneered as she sent a disdainful gaze at Surfong. However, Surfong did not get angry at this girl's provocation. Instead, he used observing eyes on this tall beauty. Melancholic smile. Level 10. Cleric. Seeing this name, Surfong was shocked. Although not as famous as Cream Cocoa, Melancholic smile, the tall beauty of a cleric before him, was also one of Star Moon Kingdom's future master forgers. Surfong truly did not think that the Starstreak trading firm could be so attractive as to lure two future master forgers. My bad, I forgot to introduce myself. I am. Just as Surfong was about to introduce himself, Anna suddenly walked out from the office as she called for the next batch of interviewees. However, the moment her eyes spotted Surfong, she hurriedly walked over to Surfong in a panic. Meanwhile, everyone else revealed ridiculing smiles as they watched Surfong. They fully intended to enjoy the show that was about to play out. You've humiliated yourself big time, now. Surfong actually dared pretend to be Starstreak trading firm personnel. Now that he had been caught in the act, he would definitely be shown the way out. Your Excellency, this subordinate is extremely sorry for this. I did not think that these people would disturb you. I will immediately send them away. Anna glared at Cream Cocoa and Melancholic smile, hurriedly apologizing to Surfong. Chapter 227 Master Black Flame. Chapter 227 Master Black Flame. Ah! Everyone who wore a mocking smile a moment before was so shocked that their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets when they heard Lady Anna speak to Surfong. Their jaws nearly hit the floor. They swallowed the ridiculing words they had prepared as their faces turned extraordinarily pale. Cream Cocoa was similarly shocked by this scene. However, she accepted this news relatively quickly. This is too great. I have another chance. Cream Cocoa's disappointed expression instantly shifted to excitement as she looked at Surfong. Seeing Lady Anna's humble attitude towards Surfong, even going as far as to refer to Surfong as Your Excellency, Cream Cocoa was sure that Surfong was no ordinary character. Since such a great character was willing to give her another chance, the flame of hope within her instantly ignited. On the other hand, Melancholic Smile's current mood was the exact opposite of Cream Cocoa's. At this moment, she looked at Surfong with a face filled with astonishment. She then shifted her gaze towards the beautiful Anna. Melancholic Smile discovered reverence in Anna's mesmerizing bright blue eyes as she gazed at Surfong. Clearly, Anna was not acting. Moreover, when Anna noticed Melancholic Smile's gaze on her, she glanced at Melancholic Smile, and the reverence in her eyes instantly transformed into rage. Melancholic Smile immediately panicked. It's over. It's over. Why is my luck so terrible? Previously, I got kicked out of the guild after offending one of its upper echelons. Now, before I have even set foot in the Starstreak trading firm, I have offended one of its great characters. Melancholic Smile's thoughts were chaotic, and her heart was distraught. She did not know how she should explain herself to Lady Anna to get out of this mess. Surfong couldn't help but smile when he noticed Anna's furious glare and Melancholic Smile's flustered expression. However, when Melancholic Smile noticed Surfeng's smile, her delicate body couldn't help but tremble, dread filling her heart. It seems that I can no longer stay in the Starstreak trading firm, Melancholic Smile lamented. If she had known about this beforehand, she would not have attempted to speak out of turn, interrupting Surfeng's happy occasion. In the end, she had dug her own grave. However, Surfeng's following words shocked Melancholic Smile. Anna, don't mind me and continue your evaluations, Surfong instructed Anna. He then shifted his sights to Cream Cocoa and Melancholic Smile, softly saying, I will conduct both of your tests. Everyone else, continue as usual. Yes, Your Excellency, Anna respectfully replied. Compared to a few days ago, Anna's current loyalty had risen from 50 to 70 points. Although it wasn't a particularly high number, it was passable. At the very least, Anna would not cause him any trouble. Do I still have a chance? Melancholic Smile never thought Surfong would give her another chance. After all, she had spoiled Shifeng's happy occasion. Logically speaking, he should have chased her out of Starstreak instead. Following which, Shifeng led both Cream Cocoa and Melancholic Smile up to the 4th floor of the building. Just who is he? Isn't he too amazing? He had actually made Lady Anna bow before him. If I could achieve a similar feat, I could die without regrets. Some of the players watched Shifeng's departing figure with admiration, inwardly guessing Shifeng's identity. In the entire White River City, there had yet to be a single player-owned shop. Even Ouroboros, currently most famous guild, had not accomplished such a thing. Yet Shifeng had succeeded in doing just that. Moreover, he was in the upper echelon of the Starstreak trading firm. His position was far above Anna's. So, how could this piece of news not be shocking? Just how powerful of a backer must Shifeng have to cooperate with the Starstreak trading firm? Meanwhile, when some of the male players saw Shifeng leading away both Cream Cocoa and Melancholic Smile, they inwardly cursed and called him an animal. One was not enough for him. He is practically abusing his authority. Inwardly, these male players felt both envy and disdain for Shifeng. Inside a forging room on the 4th floor, Shifeng prepared 5 sets of materials to craft whetstones for each of the 2 girls. Looking at the materials placed on the stone table, Melancholic Smile's thoughts slightly lagged. She never thought that Shifeng would truly give them a test and not have any unscrupulous thoughts towards them. What is it? Have you not learned how to make whetstones yet? Shifeng asked curiously when he noticed Melancholic Smile's dazed expression. The Forging Association sold the recipe for whetstones. Moreover, it was available for only 30 copper coins. Logically speaking, every player who aspired to become a forger should have learned the recipe, not to mention players who had managed to enter White River City. Ah, that's not it. I know how to make them. Melancholic Smile hurriedly shook her head, a faint blush appearing on her cheeks. She felt ashamed of herself for completely misunderstanding Shifeng's intentions. On the other hand, Cream Cocoa had a much purer mind than Melancholic Smile. She had not overthought things like the cleric had. However, she was still extremely nervous at the thought of having to make a whetstone in front of Shifeng. She felt deeply afraid that she would fail the test. Shifeng had given each of them 5 sets of materials, and his requirement was for them to achieve at least 2 successful attempts. However, during her time at the Assassin's Alliance, Cream Cocoa could only make 1 or 2 whetstones out of 10 sets of materials. Before you start, I'll give you 2 a demonstration. Shifeng retrieved a set of materials from his inventory. With a wave of his hand, he started producing the whetstone. You are a forger as well? Cream Cocoa and Melancholic Smile asked in astonishment. Ah, how forgetful of me. I still haven't introduced myself. As Shifeng had kept both his name and level hidden, others could not discover who he was. I am Black Flame, a forger. You are the chief forger of Starmoon Kingdom? You are Master Black Flame, the one that developed the glimmer chestplate? Cream Cocoa and Melancholic Smile immediately grew flustered. They would never have believed that they would meet the legendary Master Black Flame. After all, he was the person responsible for elevating the status of forgers, turning it into the most popular lifestyle class in Starmoon Kingdom. Simultaneously, he had also given the various large guilds a reason to support and nurture their forgers. One could say that Master Black Flame had done every forger within Starmoon Kingdom a favor. What was even more unbelievable was the fact that Black Flame was actually the ordinary and detached-looking man before them. In their eyes, Black Flame should have either been a handsome young man or a strange old man. However, Black Flame did not match either description. Although Black Flame looked different from what they had imagined, that did not stop their growing excitement. If this man before them was the famous Black Flame, that would explain why Lady Anna showed so much respect. It also explained how the Starstreak trading firm could possess items such as the advanced whetstones. Noticing Cream Cocoa's and Melancholic Smile's excited and hungry gazes, cold sweat dripped down Shifeng's forehead. He coughed dryly and said sternly, I will only demonstrate this once. If you cannot complete 2 whetstones, you can show yourselves out. I won't accept you into the firm. The two girls instantly calmed after being admonished by Surpassing. Afraid that they would miss out on something, they both heightened their concentration as they watched Surpassing's hands. However, Surpassing's actions rendered them speechless. Surpassing's production speed was simply too fast. Moreover, his actions were as smooth and natural as flowing water. One would easily find themselves mesmerized. Before they could react, Surpassing had already finished producing a whetstone. "All right, it is your turn now." Surpassing smiled calmly as he pointed the two towards the materials on the stone table. He was already an advanced forging apprentice. Even if he did not utilize the Book of Forging, he still had an 80% success rate when producing whetstones. However, even if he succeeded in making one, he would not receive any additional proficiency points. He had only done so to test the two girls' potential. After all, they were both future master forgers. If they could not gain any inspiration after watching him work, it proved that they had only become a master forger due to luck. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.